Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream today. It is the 1st of June 2021, 4 minutes past 8 in the evening in the United Kingdom. I'm back in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's been a bit of a while since we jumped into this simulator, but I'm doing today an idea that I've had for quite some time. I've been waiting for the right time to do it, aka the weather, which is live weather today is absolutely fantastic over the UK, so we're going to be enjoying that. We're running the stream 12 hours behind live time, so it's 8 o'clock in the evening here in the UK, 8 o'clock in the morning in the sim, and I'm going to be replicating something I did 12 years ago. Now, as part of your private pilot's license, you have to complete a qualifying cross-country where you have to do you have to land at 2 different aerodromes other than your home base, and you have to travel a total distance of 150 nautical miles, if I remember rightly. Did that 12 years ago, just before I did my skills test, and we're going to do the exact same flight I did. I thought it'd be quite good fun. I've managed to find all of my old notes, my old Cessna 152 checklist. I'm using SkyVector to work out the tracks and timings for me based off the easterly winds we're having at the moment in the UK, not the prevailing wind direction we usually get. So yeah, it should be quite good fun. I'll be making reference throughout SkyVector today for our navigation as well, but we're predominantly using the sort of dead reckoning navigation, so basically punching in the required heading, flying the timings, looking out for external references such as railways, roads, towns, landmarks. We're departing here from Fenland, Echo Golf Charlie Lima, very close to where I grew up. This is my little home airfield. Haven't been there for many years, but I hope it's something you'll enjoy quite a lot. Who have we got here? Lee Holcroft, evening everyone, he says. Lucas T, interesting idea for a stream, thank you very much. Transporter for Life, not a fan of the livery of Golf Bravo Foxtrot Golf Lima, the aircraft I spent most of my time there. Well, okay. Listenerman, has the Okavango Delta, has it been the Okavango Delta the last one? No, we did a flight in the Seminole since then, but it's been about a month since we last jumped into this simulator there. Radu Arman, he said, I'm 4.5 hours into training right now. Can't wait for this stream. Now, if you are completing your PPL or have your PPL, make sure you don't look at any of the guidance you're following here. It is going to be covered in rust and mistakes and errors. I'm going to be trying to fly it like an NG. It's going to be very interesting indeed. Now, this airport is a little freeware add-on by someone called Lemon Juice. He's in fact the same person that had actually made the real-life livery for the aircraft I did most of my training in here. So this is what Fenland looked like. So come in here, put your car there. There's the flying. The flying school was this little porter cabin, basically bolted to the side there. That's where I spent a year and a half building up all my hours. But yeah, it's a lovely little airfield, grass strip. 600 metre long runway. They have an unlicensed runway there, 0826 as well. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to do this. It's really very strange doing it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Very strange. But here she is, Cessna 152. It's actually an Aerobat in real life. And it's exactly the same as like what I flew. The only thing is they've got a red spinner on here. The one I flew on had a white spinner, but that's all I can remember. But it's basically just a livery for the default Cessna 150, 152, whatever is included with Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah, really looking forward to see how I get on here. You're going to be all screaming at me in chat. Attitude power trim. Don't forget to do all that other stuff as well. It's going to be really interesting. Right, but here we are. Live weather, as I said, I'm running the sim 12 hours behind live time, so the clock is in fact sort of correct there. We'll be sort of making reference to real timings and tracks as we can do. Now, I should have here SkyVector up here, so I've got a shortcut for us today. Here is the United Kingdom then. East UK here, there's London, and Birmingham, Manchester, the further north you go up here. But here we are right now in Fenland. Now we're going to take off. Now these headings and distances or tracks are not corrected for wind here, so they are corrected I think for magnetic variation, which is pretty much 0 degrees here at the moment. But if you look here, I have a nav log, and that's based the winds off 8,000 feet, which happened to be today, thankfully, the same as the winds as the sort of altitudes we're going to be flying each of these 3 sectors here. Each of the flights will be around 45 minutes or so. So initially we're going to take off, go towards 2 waypoints en route here. Now, geographically, where are they? Well, we're going to go from Fenland here east of the UK to Peterborough. This is the city. We're going to be using, well, not 220 if you have a look here. The actual heading is going to be 209. So that's the magnetic heading corrected for magnetic variation and drift with wind. So that's the heading we're going to fly. And the time that's going to take is 8.9 minutes. So we're going to use tracks and timings for each one of these waypoints. There's Peterborough. From there, Peterborough, we have to go to Huntingdon. This is this town here. There's a railway and the A1 motorway which goes to London to follow, which is great. And then when we get to Huntingdon, we'll make a right turn towards Cambridge, which is our first stop-off point here. No ILSs today, no nav aids. We're going to be just out the window, dead reckoning, see how we get on. Now, I've done a couple of the sectors. It seemed to work out quite well with the timings. It's just whether Microsoft Flight Simulator's wins are as realistic as they're meant to be. So it'll be really interesting to see how it works there. Wow, I don't really use SkyVector anymore, said Oliver Tomlinson. I hadn't used it for years and years and years, but I just created a free flight deck to sim account, and it worked. You know, I think I used it sort of to as a backup for my plotting and my charts as well. But yeah, we'll have a look at how we get on. Right, so that's the routing. We'll make reference to that throughout the stream. So I'll close that there. And now let's have a look at the checklist, okay? So all completely cold and dark. I've done the walk around, internal checks then. Seats, hatches and harnesses. We're locked in. Parking brake is set. So the parking brake is just here. So that is on. And radio's off, instruments legible, serviceable, readings within limits. So we're at sea level here at Fenland, and I think the local QNH should be set here. There's obviously no meta at this tiny little airfield, but Cambridge does have a meta not too far away. The QNH in Cambridge at the moment is 1014, and at the moment here in Fenland they're saying it's a lot higher. Sus. We'll keep an eye on that there, but it should be reading 0 feet here in Fenland, so instruments look good, and as soon as we get the power there, that should become aligned. So flying controls, we then check for full and free movement. Imagine that is done. Trim is set for takeoff, so there's the little takeoff bug. And cabin air controls are all closed, so they're all there. Throttle friction we don't need to worry about. Throttle, full and free movement, imagine that's done. Just a quarter open for the engine start. Carb heat, full and free movement. There we are. Master switch on. There we are. Now, I'm going to take a full tank of fuel. The idea is, you know, this should be more than enough for the entire sector. We should fly for 4 hours endurance. We're doing around 2 hours of total flight time. I'm not going to reload the sim once we've landed. I'll probably just have a quick 5-minute break each stop, but leave it parked on there and then carry on there. So that's done. Master switch is on. Circuit breaker fuses are all in and secure. Fuel cock is down here. Check that's on. I always used to prefer this to the Warrior because the Warrior had to keep flipping tanks in the Cessnas. You just turn it on and it's gravity fed, much easier. I've learnt my PPL on the 150 and the 172, but my integrated flight training was on the PA28, but I always preferred the Cessna. Fuel cock's on, beacon on then. We're getting ready for engine start. There we go. Primers required. Well, imagine, yeah, it's not been started for a while. How many times do we prime it? I can't remember. Then look out. And we call then clear prop, magnetos key in, operate the starter. Let's do it, see what happens. What have I forgotten? Mixture. I knew I'd forgotten something. Oh look, it came alive just like that. Excellent. John Franco, did you dump the fuel for a sample? I remember the little thing just sticking about my head to check for any water in it. I've done that. There's the little stall vane. You used to have a little. You used to push it up, and you could hear it. The test stall. It's like a little magnetic strip, wasn't it, or a little circuit, electrical circuit that used to be able to complete. But there we are. Engines all started. Right, we should be checking that the RPM's at 1200. That's good enough. Oil pressure is in the green. Just about. Starter warning light is out. I think that's up there somewhere. Ammeter's charging. It's always been a questionable ammeter in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yes, it looks like it's very much charging. Should think it's meant to be a little bit, only slightly above 0. Check the suction. Now, if I remember, the suction was for the gyros to power the attitude indicator and the directional indicator, so that's looking good. We've got some suction. I think it's going to be a bit higher than that. Magnetos check. We'll do that during the engine power stop. I know you meant to do it at this stage here. We'd retract the flaps because they would have been down for the pre-flight inspection. Flight instruments will now set, so the compass exactly pointing west, so the DI is also on west. I think that does drift over time as well, so you have to keep that updated. That's done. We're going to go for 7,000 standby. Fenland's a FISO, so it's towered at weekends, and then otherwise it's just a radio, Fenland radio, Golf Bravo Foxtrot Golf Lima. You just say to traffic that you're taxiing out. I think we're going to use runway 08 today. It's an unlicensed runway, but I think we've got quite a strong. If I can remember how to control the views in this game. How do I do the? There it is. The windsock I was told to be a little careful of, but it does seem to be pointing in the right direction based off the forecast wind, so we're going to taxi all the way out to runway 08. It doesn't like crosswinds like the 737, so we'll jump back into the cockpit. Flight instruments set, radio set, all looking good. We're ready to taxi then, ladies and gentlemen. There you are, look, only 13 minutes in the stream, we're already taxiing out. That's a good sign. Now where do I set the flaps? Do we do that prior to departure? We do, yes, I'll leave them up for now. So we'll go idle. Release parking brake. Let's taxi out to hold point runway 08. So out we go. Oh, this is awesome! So much fun. Danny, 60 amps. Yeah, I know it's charging very quickly. So if I remember rightly, we used to taxi out on the left-hand side, and then we're going to go all the way down here to the whole point. It's just surrounded by fields. Fenland's very hard to find, but we'll be coming back here after we've been to Cambridge and Nottingham. There's also some lights there. Now, I can't remember. I think we used to taxi. I remember if you were taxiing to depart on the other runway, you'd go to the right-hand side. But I'm going to go on the left-hand side here. I've got a Poolies guide that's 12 years old. I should have really vexed him. He says, "Let's get this beauty airborne." Thank you very much, Tim. Hope you're doing well. Again, your continued generosity is incredible. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much for your continued support, both as a member and as a regular viewer and donator. It's crazy, man. Always, thank you. Wow, look at that. The pressure's just increased massively. We've got back to 1014 now. And again, I am really dubious about this windsock, okay? Because if I let go of the rudder, it is turning left, okay? That would suggest the wind's coming from the opposite direction, the left-hand side, pushing on the rudder. And so basically the opposite of what the windsock's saying. I don't know what's going on in this simulator. But no, we need to take off of runway 08, so we need to cross here. Is that correct? No, I don't know what's going on this sim. Yeah, we need to. The wind's coming in from the east, so we need to go over here to taxi. The windsock is correct, but the feeling on the controls is as if the wind's coming in the opposite direction. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Did you ever get any cows on the runway over there? Said John. No, not that I remember. I'm sure I would have remembered animals straying onto the runway. Anyway. Let's go out here. What's the circuit direction here? I did make a note for the circuit direction for runway 08. 08's right hand. Okay. I was going to make a right turn after departure to join our track, and we'll also make sure we're pointing into wind. Even though the wind seems to be behaving in the opposite sense in the simulator. Right, let's do a little 180 here. Now you had to be quite careful here, and especially being raining, because you could get actually stuck. There we are. I think we're pointing into wind. Perfect. Right, so parking brake is set. Let's now do our power checks. So into wind, clear around, especially behind, it says on the checklist. So looking good behind. No one is there. Air conditioning pressurization checks, said Andy. Very good. I'm going to get a lot of 737 references here, I believe. Laurie says, how much above maximum takeoff weight are we with 391 people? Unbelievable. Right, anyway, whilst we're taxiing, we should have checked brakes, rudder, differential braking. Flight instruments are all checked as well. So into wind, parking brake, 1200 RPM, T's and P's, make sure they're still within limits. They are, although the pressure is very low. RPM now set to 1700. 1700. Right, check the car peak. Maximum drop is 175 RPM. That looks good. No rough running, so no carburetor icing. Magnetos check left and right. Max drop 125. So left. 0 drop in RPM. Hard to tell. Back to right. Yeah, I think it's a very slight one. And then let's check the right magneto. No more than 50 between the two. Okay, looks fine. Section 3 to 5, it is ammeter charging, very much so, and ancient T's and P's are within limits. Pressure seems to have increased with the higher power setting. Now all the way to idle to make sure the engine doesn't stop. It needs to be between 5 to 700 RPM. Seems to be very slow to steady there, but yeah, looks like we're at around 800 there. Back to 1200, and we can now do the pre-takeoff checks. How exciting. So trim is set for takeoff. It is throttle friction. It's finger tight, mixture fully rich. Magnetos are on both. Pitot heater is required, not required. Primer is locked. Fuel on sufficient. We have full tanks here. Flaps, we're going to use short field takeoff today, so we're going to do flap 10. Just sort of, I remember my instructor, it's a long time ago since I've done this, guys. I think because it's grass, we keep a little bit of back pressure just to keep the weight off the nose, if I remember rightly. But it's been such a long time since I've done this. We'll see what happens. Instruments checked and set then. So 100, 10. What's that saying? That's saying about 095. Actually 096. So we'll get that exactly set. 096. QNH or QFE is the same as the QNH here. That's set. And we're all secure. Carb heat, recheck of necessary controls, full and free movement. We are ready to go. Simply Bob says start switches and continuous. Brilliant. Richard said the Piglet failed to display a valid airfield access permit when questioned in contravention of standing order. Interesting. John said soft field takeoff, was it? Maybe. I can't remember that. Can't remember. Lawrence said wait, we forgot to execute the performance page. Oh my days. Archer. Let me bring up the charts here. So we're going to take off runway 08 here in the east, and it's a right-hand circuit, so I'm going to make a right-hand turn, and then when we're sort of being the airfield, we're going to make our left turn en route. Now remember that heading with the wind coming in from the east is going to be 209 degrees, so it's corrected for drift, and it'll be a 9-minute leg to Peterborough, and we'll see how we get on there. Alright, I think we're all ready to go, ladies and gentlemen, so I will close that there. How's the volume, everyone? Is the sound okay? Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear Microsoft Flight Simulator clearly? I think we're all good. Doesn't matter, I'm going to line up now. And before I take off, I'll double check there. Right, parking brake is set. I think we rotate at 60-ish knots. God, I can't remember. Alright, Toga's in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. How exciting. I mean, this is just phenomenal. I did this exact flight 12 years ago. I can't say what runway I used, but I think we're on the runway. Very hard to tell. Right, there we go. All good, sir. Takeoff briefing, said Rado. Just did one. It's good. Sound is A-OK. Thanks a lot, guys. Infinite224, thanks for a reminder. VR 55. And yes, we'll climb out 65 knots. 65 knots is the same as we had there. Right, full power then. There we are. And parking brake released. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust indications normal. T's and P's, I'm sure, in the green still. Airspeed's alive. And there's 55 knots. Oh, look at that. We are airborne. Plenty of runway. There's 65 and trim. Pause radio climb, gear up. Joking. Let's go to Cambridge. Beautiful. So 65 knots. Select flaps up. Nose wants to come down, so just continue to pitch for 65 knots and then retrim. 500 feet, so I was always told to lower the nose to check for traffic ahead, so I'll do that. There's no one ahead, and then pitch back up to maintain 65 knots. And I'm going to wait until we get to, let's go to around, yeah, let's make that right turn now. We're going to be cruising, let me try and remember it. We need to fly an even altitude, so we're going to go up to, I think we'll go up to 4,000 feet for this first flight, if I remember the semicircular rule. So I'm going to make that right turn now. We used to pitch for 65. If it was a hot day, the instructor said 70 to 75 to keep the engine temperature nice and cool. It's only a simple air-cooled engine. So I'm going to make a right hand sort of turn downwind for runway 08. So we're going to go on a heading of 26 here. I have to take off check, so flaps are up, engine T's and P's are in the green, radio set, altimeter set as well. There is the airfield. Request flight level 350 said top, yes, brilliant. And I'll use the little Microsoft Flight Simulator timer. This is just balmy. I did some little flying around here earlier because this is where I did all my hour building. It was just so strange. It was amazing how good it looked in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Right, so we need to sort of wait until we're a beam and then we turn on route as well. As that first heading, I'm going to start the timer now as we're pretty much a beam. I press Control Shift I for this, but it never comes up. So start the timer. It's going to be, I think it was 9 minutes to Peterborough. Okay, and we're going to turn, just wait a little bit longer. I think we'll turn on route. So that heading was 209 degrees. Okay, so it's got a heading of 209 degrees. Is that rate of climb realistic with full tanks? Yeah, I'd say so. And I've also set the payload just to 1 pilot as well. On a very hot day, no. Huge impacts with density altitudes on hot days. The performance was pants. But the 152 had a little bit more horsepower than the 150. There was a big difference between the 152 and the 150 fully loaded. One of my friends, who's actually helps me moderate the Discord, Pilot Mike, we went out flying one day and we took the 150 Golf Yankee Victor, and it was really hot. It was like 25 degrees, and we could only climb at about 300 or 400 feet per minute. After we took off, it was very slow. But once it got up cooler air, the performance sort of leveled off. David, you did your qualifying cross-country in Golf Alpha Whiskey Oscar Tango, Cessna 150, 1976. This route was Luton, Ipswich, Cambridge, Luton. Total time 2 hours 25. Very cool. Shouldn't be too far off what we're going to be doing today. Right, there's around 209 then. So it's sort of dead reckoning at the moment, just flying a track at a time. We've only got 1,000 feet to go at the moment, so on a day like this, it's pretty easy. That's Peterborough here, it's a big built-up area. And I remember that wind is pushing us from the east here. We've got a 15 knots, so it looks like we're not heading in that direction, but the wind is pushing us in that direction today. And I'd still be with what Lars service is it around here? I can't remember. It used to be it's all uncontrolled around here, Class G. Is Cambridge still in Class G airspace, or has it got controlled airspace around it now? Because I know Norwich used to be in Class G airspace, but now I think it's Class D around Norwich. It's been such a long time. Longcat, I remember almost face planting a hedge in a 152 on a hot day. Good times. Now, I remember I went to an airfield, Netherthorpe I think it was, and it was one of the scariest takeoffs I had ever done. It was quite hot, did all the performance and things like that, and I remember rotating, climbing out, and then it was just really struggling, and then I pitched up a little bit more, and the stall warning was going off. I was like, oh, I'm going to lower the nose here, and it was really, really struggling. Thankfully, there was nothing, trees or terrain or anything there, but I remember thinking it was the first time I'd ever seen performance like that. It was a bit of an eye-opener for me. Right, there's 4,000 feet, so if I remember rightly, altitude. And then we're going to wait to around 90 knots, set around 2,300 RPM. And I'm not referencing any charts apart from the one I have on my right hand side for the from SkyVector. I don't have Navigraph on or anything like that. Well, not much. Navigraph will be much use because of all the altitude charts. I know it has a geographical map, but we'll see how we get on with our dead reckoning navigation. Right, there's our power set, so I'm just trimming those down here. Is that right? 4,000 feet in this direction? Should be good. And there we are. And Peterborough is looming ahead, ladies and gentlemen. That is Peterborough here. So, yeah, live weather, perfect today. Can't believe how nice it is. And that heading we're flying of 209 is working out very nicely. Seems to be putting us in the right direction. Then we'll be a third of the way when we get to Peterborough. Astrid, are you flying offline? Yes, all offline today, just for have a bit of fun. I know some guys like to join in on Microsoft Flight Simulator for those sort of group flights I do. I really didn't fancy having a 747 flying towards me the entire stream there. John, did you need to lean the mixture in that thing at 4,000? Yes. Now, if I remember rightly, there's no EGT gauge here. So we'd lean it, wait until peak RPM, and that would end up being lean for max power, and then we just used to lean a little bit further back so the RPM dropped further, so we would be on the lean side of peak, if I remember rightly. So is that working in the sim? There's 15%, that doesn't seem to be doing anything. Just beautifully trimmed here. Changing the mixture, although there we are, drop off a little bit, but it didn't increase, so yeah, you'd lean it off a little bit, and then whenever we had to climb at full power, you always went to full rich again, just because you can risk detonating the cylinder. Right, I need to do my Rudder checks, don't we? Fuel. Never trust the fuel gauges on the Cessna 152, I was taught. Radios on and correct frequency set. We've picked up the ATIS in Cambridge by now, for sure. Engine temperature is a little low, but pressure is a bit low for where I'd expect it to be, I guess. But it's in the green area. Direction, heading indicators synced then, so let's have a little look at the compass. Make sure that's all good. It's around, just going to get it on 210 exactly. What's that there? 215? Yeah, that looks okay. I don't want to fiddle with that. So that's done. And altimeter QNH is set. I imagine that's done as well. Perfect. So, looking at the timer. Remember, it was 9 minutes. There's 5 minutes there. And let's reference the charts for you guys. There we are. So, we're probably around here. Just flying that exact heading. There's the nav log. So 209. Need to go left a little bit actually. And for 9 minutes. Might be there a bit early, in fact. Keep an eye on it. Longcat had a door fly open on takeoff at Netherfall once. Not good, not good. Anyway, welcome to Peterborough, ladies and gentlemen. An interesting city, town. Say any more like that, but no, you spent many a time in Peterborough, and from Peterborough we'll make our turn directly over the head of the city, make a slight right turn here, and we'll make track towards Cambridge. Now we're very lucky on the track between Peterborough and Cambridge. I'm pretty sure this is the same track I used when I completed my QXE. There's two references. There's the main line railway, which goes Peterborough, Huntingdon, all the way to London. We also have the A1 motorway to follow as well. So very useful to navigate with. And I can already see here, looking out the window, there is the railway line, and I think that A1 might be that. But yeah, we've got something to reference here at least to help us navigate. Excellent. So pretty much almost overhead Peterborough. Longcat, the 150-152 is notorious for wayward doors. I mean, there was always a gap. When you sat here, there was a gap there, and you could easily open it in flight, and there was always a gap there too. It certainly wasn't watertight, that's for sure. Anyway, let's wait a little bit longer to directly overhead city. That'll do. There's Peterborough Railway Station, there's Queensgate Shopping Centre. Excellent, so let's have a little look here at the navlog. Next track is going to be 163. That's our next magnetic heading, and we're going to be going for 11 minutes. Okay, 163, 11 minutes. So let's go now. 163. Thank you very much, Scott Irvine. Welcome aboard as a member. Glad you enjoyed the content, buddy. You get invited to our members-only Discord. Enjoy the custom emojis chats, and take care of yourself. And thank you very much for joining. Right, 163. Now, remind me, guys. I could not remember. I tried to look it up, but when you went over your waypoint, there's something called HAT. It's a HAT check: heading, altitude, and time. I think it was heading, altitude, and time. Right, 163. Let's start that timer again. There it is. Yeah, 9 minutes, wasn't too far off. Start. And this is going to be for 11 minutes. Cool. So if I bring up Sky Vector again here, we're now on this track. Remember, that's not corrected for wind. So 163 is the correct heading for wind correction here. 15 nautical miles. We're going to go over Peterborough, Conington. There's the main line railway. These charts aren't the clearest, and nowhere near as clear as the 1 to 500,000 VFR charts, but it's enough of a reference for us today, at least. So you can see there's the railway line going south, if I get rid of that for you there as well. And pop outside there is the railway. And there is the A1 motorway as well, the A1. We've got plenty of visual references to follow us here today. Excellent. There's Yaxley. That's Yaxley down there. I just need to fly that heading of 163. Days like this, I remember VFR was so nice because flying with Dead Reckoning, you set your next waypoint, and it could be 30, 40 miles away, but you can still see it. It's lovely. Very, very nice there. Danny used the doors as speed brakes. I remember my instructor showed me you could literally push the door open, the whole aircraft would yaw. That's pretty cool. Excellent. You can see the drift, look. Actually following that railway is working out really nicely, but we're heading in that direction even though the aircraft's pointing over there because that wind's coming in from the east around 15-20 knots. So it looks like the wind that's going on off in real life is the same in the sim, which is really cool. Well, Lucas, how far can you see in a distance of 4,000 feet? Well, on a day like this, when the visibility is excellent, I mean, what we can probably see there, 50, 60 nautical miles? Yeah, easily. Oh, get on my heading, 163. We'll soon be halfway. Affy, how do you do the wind heading calculation? Skyvector did it for me. But there's a way of calculating it very easily, using a plotting chart or something like that, or not a plotting chart, CRP wheel was the way we used it primarily. I used to work it out always manually, but then check it against Skyvector. Marion is going to go get ice cream, but not for me because I'm streaming. No, I won't eat ice cream while streaming. Lewis, time for a loop. I might do a stall at the end. Now, what I might do is a sort of experiment on the last sector towards Fenland. Is actually go sort of heads down, and we'll just type in the heading and time and see if we actually end up directly overhead the airfield. I'm quite interested to see if that works. Now, one of the things with that Dead Reckoning is, it is Dead Reckoning, it is all rough work. You're basing it off forecast winds, which are never going to be exactly the same. And one of the things you used to do is, at the halfway point, you used to make track corrections. Now, there was something called the 1 in 60 rule, and I was looking up at my notes there, and that's for each 1 degree of track error, you'll be 1 nautical mile off track after 60 miles.
50,
but then if
40,
you do it, if you make the corrections at the halfway point,
20,
you just need to double your track
10.
error to get back onto where you need to be overhead at the time you get there. Thanks, Infinite 224. He says, doing my skills test in a Cessna 152 next week. Any tips? Firstly, best of luck. Secondly, skills test for me was 12 years ago, and I've not kept up this sort of flying. So please, may I stress, if you're referencing this any sort of last-minute tips and exact advice, I would recommend that you don't follow my guidance. I mean, I don't want to sound like a bit of a, a bit of a bore, but yeah, I mean, just go off what your instructor's been telling you. I'm sure you've been using
50,
simulators to assist
40,
yourself there, but anyway, all
30,
I can say, Infinite 2,
20,
best of luck.
10.
I shall be absolutely fine. Otherwise, you wouldn't be put forward for your skills test. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Tao. It says, just as I started flying at my flight school in real life, you start streaming GA. Nice dubbing there, Mr. Sim. Thank you very much, Tao. Long time no here. You're doing well, buddy. Thanks for the good. Thanks for your another donation and for watching my videos for such a long time. Very, very kind of you to come in there. Thank you. Same applies to you. Radu, we're absolutely not taking you seriously. Good. Affy, have you ever heard of the little nav map? It is like Skyvector, but 1,000 times better with a way more detailed OSM map. I haven't. Maybe if I do some more of these flights, I'll make reference to that. Right, let's check the compass. There is Huntingdon up ahead. Nice and easy to stay. So heading is stable around 165. And we're there we are, 164. I'm happy with that. Anyway, there is the railway from Peterborough. We'll be pretty much following. And that goes all the way to Huntingdon. What? Airfield is. This is a disused military airfield here, I think. You can see, look, there's all sort of cars on it and stuff. What airfield was this, guys? I cannot remember. I don't have my VFR chart here. Oliver, Captain, did you ever do Air Cadets in your career? I didn't join the Air Cadets, no, but when I turned 14, 15, I started gliding at a local gliding centre, Peterborough Spalding Gliding Club, in fact, which is sort of how I got into flying. Flew on my solo on my 16th birthday. DBW, would you have to be retested to fly these planes in real life if you wanted to? Yes, I'd have to get my single engine piston rating. I mean, I don't think there's technically anything stopping me to booking a skills test and taking it tomorrow. I would fail it, probably. I definitely want to get back into flying an aircraft like this, get some lessons, but I wouldn't have to do a full PPL syllabus. But it's the SCP rating I need to add to my ATPL. Have you pressed the IFR because I follow roads? Brilliant, I'm doing well, buddy. Right, anyway, here's Huntingdon. Sky vector charts as well. Oops, what the world is that? Oh, some weird code. Anyway, we're going from Huntingdon. We're going to making a left turn towards Cambridge, and then Cambridge will be landing on runway 05 today with the winds coming in from the east. So we're going to, it's a right-hand circuit. So we're going to join, send on the dead side, and join the right-hand circuit onto runway 05 to land here. So we're sort of going to go in this direction, round here, and then land on 05 there. But this is actually a proper airport, you know? ILS here, they have biz jets, I think they have radar as well, so they can get you vectored onto the ILS in real life, but not today. Right, what was the time going to be? 11 minutes? Just go right over the top of Huntingdon here first. 11 minutes we said. Let's have a look at the nav log. Speed's a little bit higher as well, because I'm descending there. 8 minutes? Yeah, not far off as well. Not far off at all. There's Huntingdon, ladies and gentlemen. Disused airport here too. And thankfully, there's a road we can follow from Huntingdon to Cambridge, the A14. Longcat, not below 2,000 over the city of Cambridge, please. Thanks for reminding me. I checked my police guide. Right, that'll do for us. Let's have a look at that navlog. So for our next heading is going to be 122 degrees, 15 miles. That's going to take us 12 minutes. Okay, so 122, 12 minutes. Make that turn now. I mean, wow, if I had this during my hour building, amazing. I mean, I would have dreamt of this 12 years ago. It's incredible. Just make sure I'm actually flying the plane. Right, heading, altitude, time. Best do another free to check shortly as well. Ooh, a little bit of a stutter in the sim there. Shouldn't be too difficult for Microsoft Flight Simulator today. No clouds to load. Flat the fence. Lauren, Cambridge is probably a competing airport to Oxford for private flights. They seem never to stop competing. Well, Oxford's not very far away because the other side of London. But I should think they probably called it Cambridge London Airport, like they do Oxford London Airport. A Longcat, last thing I heard, Cambridge is on borrowed time since Marshall are moving out. Hope not, since we use it for qualifying cross countries too. Yeah, I mean, we always used to use it for. Where are you, Longcat? Anyway, you've been here a while commenting on these videos. I mean, I'm guessing you're instructor. You might have already told me that. Now, if you have, I apologise. I guess I'm not too far away from your neck of the woods. Anyway, there is heading 122, and there is the A14 all the way to Cambridge. Nice easy nav extras today. And yes, I remember doing the corrections. I mean, it was really easy. I never used GPS during my hour building. I had it as an option, a portable one which the flying school would rent out to you, but I said no, when I do my PPL, you know, I want to do it all properly, as I had to do for my skills test, and for my hour building, I never used GPS. I always just took a map, and I went all over the UK, Isle of Wight, Carnarvon, Wales, up to Carlisle in Scotland, all over the place, all using a map. There was only one time I did take a GPS, and that was actually when I went to the Isle of Wight, because I was transiting through London airspace. Well, not actually entering Class A airspace, but there's very narrow areas of Class G around London. Basically, if you go above 2,000 feet, you're entering Heathrow's airspace. You have to be super careful. So I did actually take a GPS there, just to make sure I didn't encroach on any controlled airspace. So that's the only time I borrowed one. Marshals are rumoured to be going to Grantham. Very interesting. Is it Marshals that... I know they do something with C-130s at Cambridge, but I don't know much else about it. Do you want to hear a fun little story time about my qualifying cross-country when I got to Cambridge? I will try not to replicate it in the simulator today. But I arrived at Cambridge, shut the door, and I left the keys in the ignition. And guess what happened when I closed the door? I'll let someone in chat guess what happened. Leon never flown with modern tools, GPS tablets, Skydeem, and it all seems like cheating. Absolutely, Leon, and I wanted to make sure I do it properly. Now, if I'm honest, if I was to go flying now and repeat it, I'd probably take GPS. I mean, a lot of aircraft now have sort of integrated GPS systems anyway. But yeah, it's certainly the right way to learn. Yes, correct, Commandant Jennerhofen. I locked myself out of my Cessna 150 on my qualifying cross-country in Cambridge. Longcat, lock yourself in. No, not locked in, I was locked out. It happened to me at Beverley. But do you know what was so funny? I was really embarrassed. I didn't ring the flying school straight away. I tried to open the door, but it would not open at all. It was completely locked, and I was stuck outside. So I went to go pay the landing fee or whatever it was, and I just said, look, I've managed to lock myself out of my Cessna 150. Is there anything you could possibly do? Is there an engineer here or someone that could help me? And the engineer, I can remember vaguely, the engineer was like grinning. He said, yeah, I'll come help you. And he brought out a pot of keys. He had like a pot of about 30, 40 keys. And I'm no word of a lie, guys. He just walked up, put the first key in the door, and he unlocked it straight away, like the first key. And I was like, oh, you legend, thank you. Because at the flying school, we used to always leave the key in the magneto until the end of the day. I think it was always in there. So yeah, it was very interesting, very, very funny, and I never left the key in the ignition whenever I went out flying and parked again. Now, you'll see the sim's getting a little bit stuttery. I think the reason is Cambridge is one of those high-detailed Microsoft Flight Simulator airports, so I think that's why it's loading that in, which is why it's a little bit stuttery at the moment. Anyway, that track, whatever it was, 1, 2, 3, yeah, I've been roughly holding that, it's looking good. And if I look in the distance, there is Cambridge Airport. We found it, okay. So we're going to be landing on runway 05. I'm going to be descending on the dead side of the airfield. So that's before we get to the runway, and then we're going to join a right-hand downwind for 05. And as I was just reminded, not to go below 2,000 feet over the city. And that's what it was all about. I remember flying on days like this saying, oh, I can finally see where I'm going, and you can relax a little bit. But there were some days where visibility wasn't quite as good, and you really had to rely on this dead reckoning. But you can see it works. I mean, flying the approximate heading, and it's taking us in the right direction, so it's pretty good as long as you fly that quickly. Aviation Geek, there's like 6 keys for all Cessnas, absolutely. Chris Curtin and Ben Cohanger would do the trick, absolutely. Yeah, they weren't the most secure, they never needed to be fair. There is Cambridge anyway. So. Perfectly in trim. I'm just making the smallest inputs at the moment on the control column. I'm pressing B here to reset the Q&H. I have no idea what it is. Longcat skirt the city to the southwest, or ATC will be mean. Oops, I'm going via the north of the city though. This is the north. I'm going to sort of descend and then, you know, pass on the upwind side at around 1,000 feet. What's the circuit height in Cambridge? I think the elevation, I did make a note, where's my little Pooley's guide? 47 feet here. I think it's 1,000 feet. I honestly can't remember. I've actually got the full Pooley's guide here, but it is from 2009. Remarks, noise abatement procedure, operated by Marshall Aerodromes. Aircraft must carry third-party insurance. Circuit direction, right hand 05 and 1,000 feet, perfect. Preferred landing is 2-3, definitely not the winds today. Anyway. Could be disorientated there, I was too busy, look at that, I was too busy chatting away and I went off my heading by about 30 degrees, which is why I'm disappearing off in this direction. Anyway, let's start descending, I think. So, smoothly reduce the power to 1700 RPM, pull out the carb heat, not done any carb checks at all. I think they've got an NTB at Cambridge you can probably tune, but nope, not using that today. Now, I used to remember you had to be very careful bringing the power off in the 150 if you've been in the cruise power for a long time. You used to get a little bit of backfiring from the exhaust. Would this be upsetting them at Cambridge though? I know I'm probably coming over the wrong side of the city, but I'm doing not an overhead join, but I'm on the dead side of the circuit. I'll probably be a bit high by the time I join downwind. I didn't do another free to check, did I? Right, I need to get my other checklists out, my pre-landing bum fitch checks. Johnny, a little high for this approach. By the time I get established downwind, I'll be at the circuit height, but yeah, probably should have descended a little bit sooner. Now, what was that timing that we used? I said 12 minutes to be directly over the airfield, so we should be at around 10 to 11 minutes now. Yeah, well, 9. Yeah, not far off at all. Worked out well. Right, there's the music off for our approach then. There is no noise abatement in flight sim, absolutely. There is Cambridge. Obviously very famous for its university. This is so much fun. I can't remember I have had so much fun in a flight simulator. I haven't actually, I've done 2 practice sectors, but I haven't actually fully done the whole lot in the practice here. I just wanted to leave it for this stream. How am I doing so far for all those PPL holders and instructors watching out of 10? At 7 maybe? A high 7? Very cool. But I think this is correct. Is this correct the way you... Imagine, I know Cambridge has unique, probably, procedures here, but if it was an uncontrolled airfield, would this be the correct way of joining the circuit, right hand? I know you can also go overhead, descend... dead, but no, this is the upwind end, descending, so we're taking off on 05, then joining downwind to the circuit height. I remember doing this. Right, looking good. They still have that grass strip that goes in this direction. No, I think that's closed now. On my Pooley's guide, they still have the grass runway here, but you can see it's closed. Let's turn downwind. A little bit too far out. Wonderful. John, an 8. I'll take it. Thanks, buddy. Right, downwind. 1,000 feet, there's the circuit height. I'll do my bum fits checks now, ladies and gentlemen. So, light on, it's getting a bit dark in the office. So, brakes off, undercarriage fixed down, that's actually on the checklist. Mixture fully rich, it is. Fuel is on, sufficient for a go around, yes. Flaps as required, we'll set those on base leg. Instruments, T's and P's are checked in the green, just about. Carby, we've been checking on descent, hatches hard to secure, and we're ready now to start our base turn shortly. A little bit tight in here, in fact. Not bad, look at that, 1,000 feet maintained. Alpaca Flight School definitely better than Llama Flight School. Thank you, Radu. Longcat Grass Parallel still operates in the summer. Once almost moved to Tiger Moth down. He was taking off from there. Very cool. Speed brake armed. Start switch is continuous. Very good. Right, 1700. I'm just trying to remember how we did this. And at what point did we select flaps? I can't remember. I think I've got a funny feeling we avoided flap 30. We only landed with flap 20 because of the. It was hard. It was tough to go around if you were flapped at 30. I've gone to flap 10. I'll use at least flap 20. Oh, I can't see the airfield. Oh, that was the worst base leg I've flown. I'm just going to do a continuous turn here. Flaps 20. Oh dear. Come on. Oh, that was rubbish. 65 knots then. And this is going to be the tough bit for me. I need to pitch for speed and power for rate of descent, which is a complete opposite of what we do in the 737. Flap 30 just for short field, flap 20 is the sweet spot, thanks. Aviator Geek 99J. Right, get your landing rate guesses in. I know it doesn't come up with a landing rate. Let me just make sure I get established on final first. God, that's not my skills test. A little bit fast here. Carb heats out. I've already done a landing checklist. Flaps at 20. There we are. So that wind's coming in from the east, look. You can see we're already being pushed downwind. Imagine being high at the same time. Yes, but I remember when we flew in at Fenland, we wouldn't come in at 3 degrees. It was a lot steeper. So this actually, you know, the Pappies, yes, if you want to come in on a 3-degree path, fine, but it wouldn't always matter that so much in the Cessna. I mean, you can come down exactly on the correct path if you want. And if you wanted to fly an ILS, you would be. Quite a strong crosswind, actually. Jeebus. Alright. I'm going to decrab literally last second, though, because I'm just going to try to hold it off. Well, the windsock seems to be accurate. Right, anyway, here we are. Looking good, 65 knots. Aim for the numbers now, so we'll go to 4 reds. Right, got the power. When did you decrab? I can't remember. I can't remember. Holding off as soon as that stall warner kicks in. Oh my goodness, it will not land. Oh, there we are, left rudder. I was going to go backwards at one point. Well, yeah, now the wind seems to be doing what I'd expect it to be. Well, there we are. We're down. Welcome to Cambridge, ladies and gentlemen. Flaps coming up. I'll go get us parked up. I'll get myself locked out the door. But no, I'll have a quick 5-minute break, guys, get a drink, and then we'll head off to Nottingham for our next destination. Pray to the gods, Longcat. Really strong wind. Look, if I let go of the rudder, look how much it's weathercocking. Look, let go of the rudder. Look at that. That's really strong. There we are. We'll take this next left on... Oh, where's my Pooley's chart? What taxiway is this? Taxiway Charlie, I think. Excellent. We'll just park up somewhere random. Right, carby in after landing. Carby cold, flaps are up. Trimmer set to neutral. We'll set it to take off. Electric's non-essential off. I never turned on the landing lights or the strobe lights. Sus. So just the beacon light on at the moment. Let's go park up somewhere. I cannot remember. Oh, there's a compass swing point here. I think if we just park outside here, we'll be grand today. This is just the default Cambridge. Grass parking's on the left. Ah. Well, I'll park here. Looks like it's where all the important people would park. This is probably marshals or something. I've missed the line. That'll do us. Oh look, someone's coming with a forklift to carry us to the correct place. Right parking brake set. So shut down position into wind preferably. Whoops. Nose wheel straight. Parking brake on. RPM 1200 for 30 seconds. Check the bags. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Throttle closed. Idle cut off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cambridge. Superb. Flight 103 over. Beacon light off. Ooh, bit of a shaky landing. There we are, that's the engine shutting down. Beacon light can come off. And then mags off. Oh, no, I don't want to start it. There we are. Mags off. Electrics off. No, continue. I'm not done. Get out of here. Must switch off. Fuel cock will leave in because we're about to go fly again. Harnesses leave tidy. Hatches, doors closed. Aircraft secured as appropriate. There we are. Take the key out. Thanks, Danny. Well, look, we've done our first of 3 sectors, guys. I'm just gonna throw you to the Be Right Back screen and have a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll head on over to Nottingham. If you are enjoying the video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. I'll see you all in about 5 minutes. Cheers, guys.
Don't stop. Let me explain something.
Hello again, all good, paid the landing fee, we need to get out of here before I lock myself out again or something like that. They probably remembered me. Awesome. So, let's now jump back into the cockpit. But yeah, this is just a default airport here in Cambridge. There was someone that made an edited one, but I think it had not much of change, so I thought, well, we'll just keep the default one for today's stream. Anyway, updated the flight information at the top, so we're now going to Nottingham Tollerton Airfield. It was the second sector for my qualifying cross-country. I was looking through my logbook. I spent about an hour in Cambridge getting myself back into the aircraft, I think, but I think I had lunch at some point, I can't remember. But let's have a look then at our chart, so I can sort of show you where we're going. So we'll depart off runway 05, right-hand circuit, so I guess we'd probably confirm with ATC, but I'm going to make a right turn and then head over the airfield. We're going to go up to 2,500 feet for this next flight because we need to be on an even plus 500 sector. And then, unfortunately, on this chart, it's not here, but I had a little look on Google Maps. Here is Grafham Water, just south of where we actually came inbound from, which was at Huntingdon. Once we're there, we're going to make a right turn and head towards Rutland Water. Now, I have Wittering here, Cottesmore, which I think is now is disused. Used to get a max penetration here. And then we have, what's this town? Oh, I can't remember. But then from Rutland Water to Nottingham, we have Melton Mowbray as a halfway point. So we should be at the halfway point. We should be just to the east of Melton Mowbray. If we overhead it, you can make those corrections I was talking about. So we used to draw fan lines out of each waypoint, and then you can work out how many degrees off you were at the quarter point, halfway point, and then just double times by 1.5 your distance off your degrees or whatever to calculate it, if I remember rightly. But no, that's going to be, I think, a slightly longer flight for us, not by that much though. 37 minutes, yeah. So each sector's going to be around that time. But let's give it a go. Right, we'll close that. Get my checklist up again. So as we've done our walk around, internal checks then. So seats done, parking brakes, radios off, instruments legible, serviceable. We'd set the Q&H again, which seems to be changing by the second. It's now back up to whatever it is now, 1014. It used to be up and down, up and down. So that's set. Taylor says something about best pork pies in Yorkshire. Interesting. Romulus, I did some bike racing at Rutland Water many years ago. I've spent several days at Rutland Water. Cycling is very good for as well, but loads there. Andy used to go sailing at Rutland Water as a kid. My stepbrother still does. Very cool. So that's done. Flying controls been checked. Trim, full and free moving cabin air controls. Mixture to fully rich. Throttle checked. Carb heat. Full and free movement. Throttle quarter open. That is set. Master switch can come on now. So still got the fuel for the last sector, fuel cock's on, beacon on. We then contact Cambridge Tower, request engine start for a VFR flight to Nottingham. They then give us our departure instructions. So in this case, yes, Golf Bravo, Foxtrot, Golf Lima, good depart to the west, overhead departure, whatever. Something like that. It's been such a long time, I can't remember exactly what they'd say. So that's done. We don't need to pry because the engine's been running. Look out, clear prop. Let's start the engines again. Excellent. Back to life it is. 1200 RPM. RPM is set. Oil pressure is rising to the green. Just again, I think if I remember rightly, it used to be bang in the middle. Starter warning light is out. Don't think it's here. Ammeter is very much charging. Suction is registering. Yes, that's in the green a bit there. Magnesium check. Flaps up if they were down for the walk around. Flight instruments set, so transponder. I don't think I ever turned it on, but I'll leave it for standby now for 7,000. Radio tune checked as required. Obtain taxi clearance there. Excellent. This is great time. We just had a nav lesson. Excellent, Thomas. Very, very cool. Right, we're all ready to taxi. I'll actually remember to turn the taxi light on here. So what I'm going to do is just taxi to the point where we enter the runway. There's that forklift still zipping around, and then it's such a long runway. Well, for 05, I think we've got enough runway length there, haven't we, to take off? What do you reckon, guys? I think we'll do an intersection via Charlie for 05. I think it'll be grand. Soon see. Excellent. Brakes, rudder, differential braking, flight just need to check what's taxiing. Oh, someone said carb heat. There you go. Perfect, that's been checked. Right, parking brake released. Let's go. Auto brakes to RTO. Yep, very good. Any more? Next time I'll jump on VATSIM. I don't think I've... Oh no, I have done one VFR flight on VATSIM, I think. We did a split X-Plane 11 Microsoft Flight Simulator stream, and I think we went from Cardiff to Newcastle, then I flew from Newcastle to Aberdeen on VATSIM VFR. Andy, we'll soon see. It's not what you want to hear from your pilots. We'll soon see today, that's for sure. Right, so here's the whole point. We're going to be pointing towards into the wind for our power checks. Oh, look at the pressure changing again. Look at the altimeters, up and down, up and down. I think we're into wind around there. Right, parking brake set, ready for the power checks. So engine T's and P's are within the limit. Well, pressure's not, but I'm sad at low RPM there. But we'll set it to 1700 for the power checks. Excellent. Carb heat set to max. Hot max, drop 175 maximum. Just a small drop, which is good. Max will check left. I can't see any drop. Definitely not 50 between the... definitely at least 50 between the two, but I don't think it's dropping at all. Right, that's done. So assumptions 3 to 5, concerning. Probably go get that checked. Ammeter's still charging. TCP still within limits. To idle. There we are, all looking good. And 1200 RPM set. Right, pre-takeoff checks then. Trimmer set for takeoff, throttle friction set, finger tight, mixtures fully rich, magnetos, both pitot, heater as required, not required, primers locked, fuel on and sufficient, flaps as required, flaps up takeoff, I'll go flap 10, we used to do flaps up takeoff, so. You know, I used to do the circuits in Fenland, we used to do flaps up landing, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, practice engine failure, PFLs we used to do as well. I remember to put the transponder and altitude now, look, and strobes, and the landing lights on, so everyone's happy. Matches harness are good, carb heat done. We'd also check the flight controls for full and free movement. We'll imagine that is done. Let's go. I'll imagine we've got our takeoff clearance runway 05. Oh, we've actually got METAR here in Cambridge and wind. So as you see, what it's saying is the weather here. Surface wind is 110 at 6 knots. Turn it on a dime. Yeah, I think I struggled to get a 737 off in that distance. Superb. Right, so just ride you. I'm going to depart from here. I'm going to take off. Right-hand circuit's going to make a right-hand turn and then depart overhead the airfield. And our first magnetic heading we're going to fly is 286. 286. That's to fly a track of 290 for 10 minutes to Grafham water. That's what we're going to do. Right, let's do it. Toga's in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Nottingham, following the footsteps of my qualifying cross-country. So cool, so cool. Right, let's go. John, short field takeoff checklist, flap 10, brakes on, stand on the throttle, let the RPM settle, brakes release. Let's do that then. Oh, it's a bit squirmish though. Oh, I have to let go. Let's go, let's go. Right, takeoff thrust set indications normal. Already having to put in a lot of left rudder for that crosswind. A little bit of aileron into wind here. Oh my goodness me, airspeed live. Oh, that crosswind is strong. We're airborne. That is a really strong crosswind. Look at that. That's not 6 knots or whatever it said on the METAR. Yeah, having a giraffe. Right, let's read well, flaps up. That was a very interesting takeoff, felt very bizarre. Mariana's back. Lower the nose, no traffic ahead. All looking good. Make a right turn now to join downwind. T-Lab Y286 290, is that the wind correction? Yes. Look at this stuttering in the sim. Oh, no, thank you. Mariana just shoved some ice cream in my face. No, thank you. No, thank you. Cool, so we're just joining downwind, and then I need to be at least 2,000 feet above Cambridge, apparently. Well, I'm going to struggle for that. I'm not sure if they would approve a direct overhead departure, but we're going to do it anyway. Turning down ice cream? Yeah, well, trust me, I'd love to have some ice cream, but do you want to really hear me ice cream while streaming? I don't think so. Dear, look at my speed. I'm trying to maintain 65 knots here. I'm struggling to climb. I'm trying to just get into 65 knots to trim. Really wants to climb, look at that. Can't get my seating position right either. It's easier to, to look at. Yes, certainly. That's a bit more trim now, there we go. We said we're going to go to 2,500 feet, didn't we? There we are. Well, not directly over the airfield. That was a rubbish exit procedure. Eat the ice cream. Explain 72 scoffed a huge burger on stream last night. Fair enough. Right, let's call that overhead Cambridge. Let's start that timer again. There we go, that's ticking away, and that track was 286. Leveling off for 2,500 feet as well. Trimming nose down. That's about 90 knots, 2,300 RPM. We're in the cruise already. Superb. Everyone's trying to get the METAR for Nottingham. I don't think Nottingham will have the METAR for you. It's a small airfield. Has got a tarmac, a concrete runway, but yeah, it's. I don't think they'd produce a METAR. I might be wrong. East Midlands too far away. You probably would go for that airport. Echo for the X-ray. But bye, Cambridge. Looking for a large body of water in 10 minutes time called Grafham Water. Grafham Water. What are you doing tonight, bot ladies and gentlemen? Poor. Yeah, so you do realise that commands have 30 seconds, so you'll wait 30 seconds before it'll accept another command. Poor Nightbot. Right, let's get the 2,500 feet sorted. We'll do a Frida. Fuel on and sufficient. Yes, we've got 3/4 of a tank by the looks of it. Radio's on a correct frequency, so we'll probably get handed over from Cambridge to tune next on route frequency. Whoever that would be. I think it used to be Cottesmore Lars or something like that, I can't remember. Engine T's and P's are in the green direction indicator, so we're trying to maintain a heading of 286 at the moment. Seems to be at 27, 284. 284, that's looking good. Oh look, my altitude keeping's not very good. We can basically follow the A14 back out of here. Oh, not the A14, no. A14's going to be up there. That's going to be the A14, yeah. We're heading in that direction, but don't forget that wind pushing us as well. Double check my track here, I don't want to get that wrong. Was it 287? Don't want to get lost, that would be very embarrassing. 27 287, that's more like it. And if you look in the distance, that I believe is Grafham Water. I hope. That's the A14. Kevin, I thought you did your primary training in the US. What training was it that you did in the SW, Southwest? So Kevin, I did my private pilot's license in the UK before I started my integrated flight training course. God, stutters away here. The plan I was going to do modular flight training, but at the time, back in 2008, 2009, I had my PPL in Fenland, hour building here. I got around 140 hours when I started my integrated flight training, because at the time it was sort of I don't know how true it was, but the airlines were sort of saying that they preferred flight training, an integrated flight training student in comparison to a modular. Now I can tell you now, 12 years later, that is absolute codswallop. It was no requirement whatsoever, and I wish I had gone modular because I would have saved. You know, I wouldn't have had to take such a big loan out to pay for the integrated flight training. But yeah, I did 140, 150 hours in the UK, whilst saving up money for modular flight training, and the money I did save when I started my integrated flight training went towards sort of a living expenses when I was living in Oxford, America. So that's all how it all went. I'm getting these awful stutters in the sim. I don't know why. I don't know if you're seeing it. It's FPS right now is 55-60 according to FlyLive, but it's sort of, look, stutter. It's just stuttering. I mean, I can't give it much better performance. You know, I can't really improve things more than this. It's cav okay, no terrain. You can see those stutters. I thought they'd sort of fix those little issues, but no, it seems to still be doing it, unfortunately. So sorry about that. Little stutters you're seeing in the sim. I might, if it carries on for the third sector, reload the flights. So I think sometimes, you know, if you keep going for ages, it just starts stuttering after a short while. Pierre, my Microsoft Flight Simulator stutters the same way, and I'm on a 3070. Yeah, I know it's not an inherent problem with the graphics card or lack of RAM, because right now my PC isn't working too hard. I mean, it's sat at 60 FPS really nicely, but it's just stuttering. I know someone that's got a 3090 RTX or whatever it is with a very powerful PC is getting the exact same stuttering. That's why I asked him. Laura, the notion in America that employers prefer you to finish your 4-year degree at once is also completely false. It's 100% handed by banks and loan companies. Yeah, it's a shame. I know in the US you do need your 1500 hours before you can fly anything like a 7.3 though. Don't need that in Europe. Colin, what GP do you have? I have an outdated 1080, but it does, you know, it sits here quite nicely. I am going to get a new PC at the end of the year now, but looking at the PC's performance, CPU utilization is 65%, memory 46%, so it's not working, you know, it's not working flat out. Anyway, I can assure you that is Grafham water ahead. It's our first waypoint. I'm pretty certain, I did plot the route for today's stream, but I'm pretty certain I used the same landmarks for the qualified cross-country. Lewis, you've been flying the same route at the same time, and I'm getting the stutters now. Ah, okay. And what's your PC, Lewis? Yeah, sorry I'm offline as well. I know some people wanted to join, but I will do some more of those group flights on Microsoft Flight Simulator where anyone can join and whatever. But I quite enjoyed the fact of just doing this without having a 747 inverted flying towards me. You've got a 1080 as well, Lewis. Very cool. Yeah, it's okay. It seems to be. I think it might have something to do with Cambridge being one of those. It seems to have smoothed out a bit now. Yeah, I'm getting. It's sat at 60 FPS. There's another stutter. Nice tailwind as well, pushing us. Excellent. Looks like I've got some sort of nav aid tune. Look, it keeps changing all the time. It's an ILS of some sorts. Probably one at Cambridge. There's Grafham water ahead, which means that is Huntingdon on the right. We came in via Huntingdon, remember, and then on the A14. I use Grafham water a lot for a VRP reference point. A lot of navigation aids. I think a lot of other aircraft did as well. There used to be always aircraft overhead here. John, good thing you're offline. I can only imagine Swiss 001 buzzing you a giant plane on these small airfields. I have heard of that guy, yes. He's a bit of a... He makes sort of... I want to describe them. It's not quite like my content, I suppose, but each their own. But he does big jets and small airports with a bit of fun, doesn't he? Ariston Pratt, any interest in the DC6 coming this month? PMDG's tutorials, videos look impressive. If that's coming out this month, is it? Wow, I didn't know it was coming out that soon. But yeah, we'll probably give it a spin. No doubt you guys want to see me having a go flying that.
50,
yeah,
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks a lot, Tim. That sounds very promising. He says, past my MEP CPLIR. When you're all hiring again. Amazing, Tim. Well, that is the creme de la creme, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That is the most arduous, nerve-wracking test you can take. So, Tim, massive congratulations for passing that test. Alpaca Airways, we're always hiring. Send your CV to Alpaca Airways, London. LE, whatever the postcode is in London, can't remember. And we'll get you all hired. But best of luck, Tim, with your job searching. I wish you the best of luck with that. And, congratulations. Right, so let's have a little look at that. Nothing. So time was meant to be 10 minutes. We're directly overhead Grafham water. 10 minutes. Look at that. Perfect. 10:17. Next heading is 329 degrees for 15 minutes. 329 degrees for 15 minutes. Need to turn. Oh, I've just adjusted it there. And then we're going to be going off towards Rutland water next. So let's do it. 329. There we go. Dead reckoning works. A little bit late turning. There is Grafham water. Don't forget we're running the sim 12 hours behind live time, but we are live weather. So the clock should be correct. Yeah, pretty much. And let's see if we can see in the distance from the water. Not sure. But what was that time? Time was for 15 minutes. Tana, what would you do if you got lost here? What was the procedure if you got unsure of your position? Don't panic, that's for sure. So you can get a position fix if you contact 121.5, which usually finds out what you're about to do. Thankfully, I never had to do that. Yeah, for dead reckoning navigation, it's really important when you're a quarter of the way and halfway that you check for any drift error, and there's often quite a lot because the winds are not always forecast as it's supposed to be. And then you'd make your corrections there, so you'd work out how many miles off course you were at the halfway point, and if you worked it out, the 1 in 60 rule. You never used to have to work it out in the head on the fly. We used to draw these fan lines from each waypoint, so you could work out easily your distance from each en route waypoint. So if I was to have a look at this chart here, I mean, I don't know what this town is here, but you see on our halfway point there's a little town there. I'd have fan lines coming out at 5 and 10 degrees, and if I realise, right, I should be just to the right of this town, but I'm just on the left, what's that, 2 miles, you can then work out your angle track deviation, 3 degrees, and then you just double it. If you double it, you should be back overhead your correct waypoint. And it's really important to keep monitoring that track as you go on routes. And I remember when I was planning my flights, I used to always, try and choose tracks which either went along VR radials. So I knew I wanted to, be a commercial pilot. So I used to go and tune a VOR and try and find a track that was sort of parallel to a radial. So I used to use that as a backup. Also, try and point out some prominent en route nav aids as well. So or landmarks as well. Right, anyway, 329. How's my... Oh, look, not flying very well. 329, see? I'm not concentrating. So I'm going to be a little bit left of track, perhaps. In fact, now we're on the correct track. I think that could be Rutland water there, but one of the big mistakes you can make is actually be very certain what the landmark is, and you think, right, that's it, start flying towards it, and you get there and you realise it's actually not your landmark, and you're in a bit of trouble, perhaps. Anthony, today, too bad my Microsoft Flight Simulator died and won't update anymore. Missed the small GA flights already. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you've had problems with your Microsoft Flight Simulator there, buddy. So, approaching the halfway point. A little bit left of track there. I think that could be water. I might have, because I was 10 or 15 degrees off track for a few minutes, I might have drifted off. Let's just keep on this heading for a short while. Let's see how we get on. James, it's really nice to have a stream where there's not someone screaming into VATSIM. Yeah, I know. We had someone, yeah, that last stream we had a particular guy, it wasn't his fault, but he was really loud on the microphone when he was talking, and it is impossible for me to control the volume for each individual person, and when it's really busy, you know, I have to over-talk these people, and it can be a bit frustrating. Someone commented on that video. I also got an email from someone saying, I wasn't complaining, but said it was very difficult to hear, and I was like, oh, sorry, you know, there's not much I can do about it, but I'll try. But yeah, I sometimes do offline flights, especially if it's a new aircraft. So the first BA 146 flight I did was offline. Mostly so I can learn it, but no, I generally like to fly on the network because it's obviously a great learning environment. You said 329, but it says 316 on the top. Are you sure, Hakan? Have a look. 326, yes, but remember this is we want to fly 329, but it's 326 is the current track, but that's not corrected for wind. So 326 with 3 degrees of drift is 329. That's our current heading. That's the one we want to be flying at the moment. Get that off. Just make sure the compass is all aligned as well on the DI. What's that? About 326. I don't know if they're simulating the drift there. There's no rudder trim on this. It has a tendency to keep turning left. And the way you fix it is there's a little metal strip there. You just physically bend it with your hand, just if it keeps drifting in one direction. It's not very sophisticated. John, 10 out of 10 for altitude hold on both legs so far. Yeah, once you get it trimmed out, I mean, it's just I'm just making very subtle, small inputs on the joystick, as you say. But it's perfectly trimmed out. But I'm going a little bit faster than I should be. I'm basing all these sectors on 90 knots. Seem to be sat quite nicely at 97, 98. Just take a bit of power off. Anyway, I'm really working off tracks and timings here. That little map, I've got no way of working out how far left or right we are. Just keep out looking for a lake. Remember the timing was 15 minutes. Might be a bit less than that, probably 14 because we've been going a bit faster. Where is... No, it's 6, so I'm almost halfway on this leg. Why can't I see a big lake? I'll get nervous. Yeah, the sky vector chart is nowhere near as detailed as a VFR chart. There is a lake there. I've got a funny feeling that's Rutland water here. There's a lake there as well. I think I might be a little bit further west. Taha, basic services like flight following. Yes, in the UK we have a unique set of rules for flights outside of controlled airspace. There's 4 basic traffic procedural. What's the other one? Deconfliction. So sometimes we end up in uncontrolled airspace departing the UK. If we ever do, we always request deconfliction service. But it's very rare that it's certain departures out of certain airfields. I've been there a few when I've been out of base. It's like, well, yeah, we just request deconfliction then. Lotus says, I think I can see a lake, so I think we're heading in the right direction. I hope so. There's a built-up area here. What town is this? I'm not using any Navigraph, GPS or anything. I'm just going off my tracks and timings, but that looks Rutland waterish there. That looks very Rutland waterish. And remember, I think I was flying 10 degrees to the left there, so I've been sort of looking to the right here. I think I'm a little bit left of track. So probably halfway I'd be making that correction now. I'll be checking the 1 in 60 in my little fan lines going, oh look, I'm actually 3 miles to the left of track. I need to make a 7-8 degree turn to the right to make my correction. So yeah, we're a little bit left of our track there. You're too far, Sam. I think so. Long cut. I think I'm left of track. So I think that's Rutland water on the right. I'm pretty confident. So if I bring up the charts, I think we're about here, where my mouse is. I think we're about here. Maybe further so. Because you see on the map there's this built-up area on the left? I think that's that. Right there. There's a racetrack there. What racetrack's that? So I think there's that city in town here. If I bring up the chart, look. I think we're about here. I think that's Rutland water off to the right, which makes sense. That's definitely not Rutland water. And that is... Oops. So I imagine I've checked my fan lines. I'm pretty... Yeah, that is definitely Rutland water because you can see the lake and then there's this little sort of island on the middle. I can't remember where it is, but they have a really nice pub there. Makes burgers. So let's make a correction now. Oh my goodness, so that heading of 329330, around 20 degree correction there. Thankfully it's a good day. But how did I make that error? Was I actually flying that far off a track? Or unless the winds are stronger than forecast coming in from the east. But I'm pretty... Yeah, that is... I can tell you that's from the water. I vaguely remember seeing it like that, coming in this direction. Yep, John Padfield, great use of the Pilot Atlas emojis today. That's Rockingham Raceway, very cool. Now that would have been on the VFR chart, I'm very sure, referencing that. Unfortunately, Sky Vector, if I bring it back up again, is not that great. It just, even if I zoom in, look, we're here. It just shows railways, built-up areas, and some lakes. We have this little squiggly line here, sort of looks like a worm. I don't know if we can see that. It could be that, I'm sure. Yeah. A little bit off track, and that is 100% Rutland water. So, ignoring completely the track now, I'm going to go fly directly overhead of Rutland water. Kevin, it's not gyro drift, we're all good. I've been checking the DI against the compass every 10 minutes. It was my sloppy navigation. Bjorn, Sky Vector only has VFR maps for the US. Yes, it does. I think you probably, for digital UK VFR maps, you no doubt have to pay for them. Anyway, there is Rutland water. Ignore the fact that I drifted. I think I was a good, I don't know, probably 6 miles off course. Longcat, should have bought yourself a physical VFR chart. I've got one somewhere. I've got my one from 2010. Yes, it's outdated, but lakes and towns and cities generally don't change, so it would have been quite useful to actually have to reference. But I'm quite happy that I haven't actually used any sort of... I'm just using dead reckoning today to see if I can get to where we need to go. Tower, can you share your SkyVector flight plan link? I don't know how to do that. I've got my... It's just skyvector.com on my account there. I mean, I'm happy to make reference to it during the stream, but I'm afraid I don't have a link for it. Anyway, you can see our turning point. If I bring it up, it's right over the middle of Rutland water, just here. And then we're going to have our final heading towards Nottingham. It looks like Fly Live's crashed. It always does this in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sort of stops working. Let me just reset that for you, ladies and gentlemen. See, the stuttering seems to have stopped in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I honestly think it's Cambridge, and sometimes when you fly over those sort of photorealistic cities, you just get these sort of stutters. EGSC, and we're going to Golf Bravo November. Climbing now, so I'm trying to set up Fly Live. Golf Bravo, Golf Lima. There we go. There we are. Fly Live should be working now. Correct. Here's Rutland Water. Like myself, like many of you in chat, myself, we've been here several times. I've been here loads. Really nice pub here on the middle island, but you can cycle all the way around the reservoir. Beautiful. Lewis, last leg IMC. I might just rely on the dead reckoning perhaps and look outside. Right, that is, I know, RAF Cottesmore. RAF Cottesmore, which I think is now closed. It used to be just to the north of Rutland Water, and we're pretty much heading northeast there. So, only about 45 degrees off our track. Track that was meant to be coming over here. Right, hopefully the last one will work. So I'm just looking at it here. Timing was meant to be... how long to get here? 15 minutes. Let's have a look at the nav log as we turn to our next waypoint. Yeah, 14 minutes makes sense for going a little bit faster. So reset, start. New heading, guys, is 317 degrees for 13 minutes, and we'll be overhead Nottingham. So I'm going to try and nail this heading now. 317. And we will land on runway 09 in Nottingham today. Henry, you can turn off photogrammetry and settings. I hate the melted look. Do you still get this though? I don't want to lose the, I don't want to lose the roads, landmarks and fields. I don't want it to be like the default textures. But sometimes like the cities just, Cambridge there, just ate my, well, it didn't need any resources, just causing the stuttering in the sim, unfortunately. Trying to fly that heading accurately. There we are, 317. So heading, altitude, update the QNH. There we go. It's changed slightly. Still get satellite imagery. Ah, alright, Henry, I might turn it off. Lauren, this part of the country's still got many World War II airfields, absolutely scattered with them. Pretty much all of them now disused and have cars on them. So many. Great visual reference points though when navigating. I'm going to do another free to check fuel on and sufficient. Gauge is looking fine. Radio's on and correct frequency, so probably be talking to Cottesmore Mats or whatever it was. Whatever, Lars area, services area now. Engine T's and P's, all in the green. Direction. We're flying 315, we'll be flying 317. Let's check the compass. 3. Just turning slightly, keeps moving to the left here. So pretty much on 310 now. Flying 317, and that thankfully ahead is Melton Mowbray, which is a nice little, it's exactly the halfway point. It is a great way of, when you're plotting your routes, trying to find a nice visual reference. It's like a big town is really useful. So that is Melton Mowbray ahead. Russell. Nearest ex-World War II airfield to me is Pulbrook, where Clark Gable was stationed as a gun on the B-17. Excuse my lack of knowledge out there, I don't know who that was or is. I guess he was. John, I have to duck out sadly, 6:30 tomorrow, and I'm in the GMT plus 2 time zone. My 32-year-old body needs to get some sleep. Ah, John, well thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for the tidbits as well. And take a chill evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's all smoothed out, the sim now, it's beautiful performance now. So I'll put that down to Cambridge, and look, it's all beautifully smooth. 60 FPS, 65. Just need to keep it that way. So I might do that suggestion, turn off the photorealistic cities. Jacob, I can't believe this. I did my qualifying cross country just yesterday in a 150. Mega. Very cool. I'm guessing that's in the UK. Fantastic weather if you did it yesterday as well. I think mine, when I did mine, the weather was quite nice. I mean, it wasn't quite clear. It was cloudy. And it was. I can't remember. I really can't remember. I remember locking myself out in Cambridge. Can't remember going to doing this sector to Nottingham and then Nottingham to Fenland. Anyway, here is Melton Mowbray. Let's check Sky Vector charts. So, there we go. This flipping. I don't want that. So there's our course at the moment. Melton Mowbray's here. Look, so we shouldn't be really going over the city, just to the east, and that looks good. If we look where we are there, well, we're probably a little bit left of track there. We're sort of going overhead the city, but we'll make a slight correction, and my flying's not been accurate enough. Look, sort of flying 310, I need to be in 315, so that's probably why I'm a little bit left. What I'm going to do is correct the 320, sort of guesstimate that, and I'm going to make that my new heading to reach Nottingham. Now, Tollerton is just the east of Nottingham. It's a little bit bigger than Fenland, but you've got to be a little bit careful of controlled airspace here. It's quite close to East Midlands controlled airspace. In fact, on the little Sky Vector chart, there's a little segment which is actually between 1,500 feet and flight level 100, so you've got to be a bit careful. You don't bust that airspace. Probably be worthwhile listening frequency to East Midlands approach. Lewis, exactly what Lewis was saying. Yes, absolutely. Probably just clipping the airspace. I don't know if that just changed, but yeah, you don't want to be busting any airspace there. Hi Jay, hope you're doing well, mate. Still practice anyone? Hazel checks, please. Hazel. Height, airframe, security, engine, location, lookouts. Next question. I've got the fit right in front of me. Long count. Yeah, the EMA shelf is right in front of you. Watch that 1,500 feet base. Can I just imagine I contacted the East Midlands approach, requested zone transit for that tiny segment, but you're quite right, I would technically be busting that little bit of airspace. Just to show you again, guys, look at that. I didn't even notice that on the plotting chart. 1,500 to flight level 105. Whoa, that would be an airspace bust at 2.5. Imagine they gave us zone transit. Be grand. Frida is more relevant. I know, Henry. I was just showing off the fact that I knew my Hazel checks. Right, let's get rid of that for you. Oh my goodness, I'm meant to be flying 320 degrees now. Track correction. No wonder I keep drifting. I'll be flying right over top of East Midlands Airport soon. Ah yes, Henry checking for carb. You're quite right. Quite right. Just seems to be no rough running. Just a slight drop in RPM, which you'd expect. Remember rightly, it's carb icing happen at any temperature. It's all to do with the air humidity, so you can be well above freezing. And it's something to do with the Venturi effect, isn't it? With air going in from the air intake into the carburettor, and it cools, which is what causes the carburettor icing. And then you pull the carburettor heat, and that takes warm air from around the exhaust, I think, to melt any icing. I haven't leaned either. Jason, can you do some E6B calculations? No. And my CRP is long gone. I can't find it. I didn't get rid of it. I know I have it. Anyway, we're going to make heading 320. Sort of looking ahead here, because we are dead reckoning. There is a built-up area that will be Nottingham, and Tollerton's sort of on the east side of the city, so it's going to probably be around here. So I'm just going to stay on that heading for now. Looks like we're a little bit left of track, which is not good for our airspace busting. The wind's also coming from the right, remember. Looks like, well, mostly tailwind. Good so far. If you hate to keep on a jam, I need to write down this phone number. Is that Loughborough just ahead to the left? Possibly. I really don't know. That's too small for Loughborough. That's Nottingham. Loughborough's probably more over here. I don't know. Well, that is probably East Midlands. That's East Midlands Airport. Ah, yeah, we're probably in controlled airspace right now. Golf Bravo, Foxtrot Golf Lima, cleared to transit controlled airspace, not above 2,600 feet, and continue on route to Nottingham. Thanks. Great, got my clearance. Did you hear that, guys? But I'm probably in Class D airspace right now. Right, anyway, so I've got no navigraph, so let's have a little look at the sky vector chart. I know it's not the clearest. But this is coming up to this built-up area here in Nottingham, and look at the airfields just to sort of the north-east. We'll have a look at the timings, but I think we're going to be probably getting quite close now. Let's have a look here. In fact, could that be it there? Oh, I think it's there. Look at that. So that track adjustment I made to 320 was perfect. Yeah, that is Nottingham Tollerton. Ah, I found it. Look at that. That track correction at 320 degrees worked out perfectly, right? Carpet, let's go down a bit high. Runway 09 in use then today, so we're going to make a it's a left-hand circuit here. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 09 left-hand. So we're going to descend here. We're on the dead side at the moment. We're going to go over the upwind side, join downwind, land on 09. There we go. 1,000 feet. That, I can't believe that. That track was perfect. Amazing. That's wicked. Very satisfying. Very satisfying that I didn't screw it up completely. That's just how I remember it. Longcat 800 foot circuit, knots all left hand. Thank you for reminding me. Longcat, remind me, if this was uncontrolled, do you have to always do an overhead join, or is this sufficient, you know, making sure I'm on the upwind side at the circuit height, and then just joining left downwind for 09? Would that be okay? I genuinely can't remember. Right, turn the music off as we're approaching our descent point. There we are. I'm just happy I found it. Didn't get lost. I haven't got lost yet. Just a little bit wayward. 800 feet circuit height then, okay. You can see the drift, look, coming from that wind from the east, look. We're being pushed in this direction. Turn downwind. 800 feet. Need to do a bump fix checks again. Beautiful. Ah, look at that. Bump fix then. Brakes are fine, undercarriage fixed, mixture fully rich, fuel on sufficient for go around, flaps as required, up for now, instruments, engine T's and P's checked, altimeter QNH, pressing B, it's all set, carb is checked and set, just pulled it in, and hatches and harnesses all secure, we're ready for base leg. Overhead is the safest, of course. Right, let's turn buttons. Try and do a bit of a better circuit pattern this time around. It wasn't that great last time. Bit of a base leg at least. Look, she just butted it. Excellent. I can't remember when I select flaps. It's 10 degrees on base and then 20 degrees turning final. And then when you get on final, 65 knots. Not bad. Better than in Cambridge. I'm sort of controlling power for speed here. I'm in my 737. Don't care. It's always the opposite problem when guys come onto the 737 for the first time in their type rating. They start pitching for speed. That does not work in the 737. You just get sync rates on final. Right, anyway, 65, probably a tad high. That's looking good. I'm just going to keep that picture all the way to touchdown. Definitely into wind now. Look, there's no crosswind. Bit slow. This is Nottingham tolerance, isn't it? Joking. Is it? I remember it being this shape. Right, got the power. Let's hold it off as long as I can. Oh, where's that ground? I want to at least get that. I want to hear that stall warner just when I touch down. Come on. Oh, not bad. That was a little butter. It was about a couple of knots slow, and I would have just at the angle attack there to get that stall warner. We're down. What a butter. Welcome to Nottingham Tollerton. 203. We use the other runway to turn right. Excellent. Taxi and music. Ah, why is that not working? There we go. Let's do it every time. Beautiful. Does the EGBN say 5? I guess you're referring to the 737 there, Lauren. No, only 10. Unless it's an option from Boeing that I don't know about. Right, so I'm going to taxi. We'll go right outside the tower here. So, after landing, carb heat cold. Flaps up. Trimmer set to neutral. Just take off. Front friction loosen, non-essential electrics off. Put this to standby. And that's it. Radios off when it's on stand. So we need to do that at the moment. Make a right here. Longcat standard overhead is good unless some numpty is circling into the overhead skies route at 2,000 feet. Sort of like when I did leaving Cambridge then. Then it's time for an airborne punch-up. I need to look at all those notes again. Oh look, man in a black van here. Right, we'll park. I don't need fuel. Oh look, I'll go park where there's some people standing around. Because we can do a very short taxi for runway 09 then. Does that fuel truck seem to be all out of proportion? It seems to be very tiny. Oh my goodness, where's he off? It's like a miniature fuel truck. It's like the same length as my 150. It's all out of proportion. Right, anyway, let's park it there. Next to these people, marshallers. Excellent. I'm sure that'll do. Right, parking brake is set. 1200 RPM. Shut down. So, into wind as best as we can, not really. Parking brakes on 1200 for 30 seconds. Mags check. Doesn't seem to do much. That battery's going to be so charged when we finally finish the day. So that's done. Radio's off. I don't think we can actually turn off the panel anyway. You turn it all the way until it went to off. Is that actually on? Oh, that's actually cool, so you should actually properly turn it off. Very cool. Throttle closed. Mixture idle cut off. There we go. I love that sound. It's so realistic when you just shut the engines off. Well, he says. As the prop seems to still be spinning. What? Interesting. Why is it doing that? I forgot. What? Cut. Magneto's off? Why won't the engine die? I was just saying that sounds really realistic, but it looks like the engine doesn't want to turn off. Look, cut. Magneto's are off. That is an engine that just does not want to stop spinning. Dinky toy fuel truck, it looks like it. Slight problem though, we're going to have to keep the engines running at... looks like the starter motor's stuck on or something. That's unusual. Oh, I don't know what I've done here. Well, I think it's a bug. Let me just try and turn the fuel off. That's the last thing I can do. Wobble wobble. I think that might be a bug we've discovered, ladies and gentlemen. It's unless we've discovered a way of creating energy with no fuel. Magic prop, it would seem so. Right then, guys, so what I'm going to do is throw you to the Beat Right Back screen. When I get back, I hope the engine stops spinning. If not, we'll just have to carry on, see what happens. Let me just... well, that's, yeah, Microsoft. Let me just completely turn it off. There we are. Everything's now unpowered. Interesting. We'll put you to the Be Right Back screen. Hopefully that'll have fixed itself. Maybe John the Fueler will be able to grab it for us before it keeps spinning around there. Henry Quick patented it. Brilliant. I know. Infinite clean power source. We just need to connect this to a belt or something. And yes, we could sell this idea. The Cessna 150, infinite power. Guys, I'll throw you to the Be Right Back screen. When I get back, we'll plan and complete our last sector back to our home base, Fenland. As ever, I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Cheers, guys. So prior to getting the engine started, let's have a little look at the routing Here we are. So look at that. We're going to be heading directly east. We're going to actually take off of 09. So we're going to go straight outbound. Our shortest sector here, just 33 minutes. Eastbound directly to Grantham. From Grantham, we're going to make a slight right turn to Spalding. This is my hometown where I grew up. And then from Spalding, a very short sector to Fenland. Now, what I might do, and I haven't tried this yet, so I think it'll be quite good fun, is see how good Dead Reckoning is. What we'll do, we'll jump when we're directly overhead Spalding. We'll set the track and time, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 and 4.5 minutes. And what I'll do, we're going to go heads down in the cockpit, and then after that time is up, we'll be heads down here like that. We'll see if how close we are to Fenland. We'll see how accurate the timings and tracks are in Sky Vector and the wind in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, technically I should be directly overhead, but we'll see how good it is. It'll be quite interesting to see how it is. Seeing it's a short stint, that last little sector there, it's only about 4.5 minutes. We shouldn't be too far off. It'll be interesting to see. I thought it'd be quite good fun. Right, anyway, let's get that closed, and I want to get this engine started before something serious happens. I don't know what is going on here. Right, where's my checklist? So internal and starting, seats, hatches and harnesses. I picked up my bacon butty from Tollerton Airfield. I ate that. Parking brakes set, radios off, instruments legible, serviceable. Let's press B, see what's happened to the QNH again. Changed again, up and down a few more hectopascals. Flight controls we then check. Trim is set for takeoff. There we are. Cabin air controls are closed. Mixtures fully rich. There we are. Frontal friction checked and set. Throttle and quarter open. There we are. Carb heat full and free movement. Master switch on. You don't turn on a radio request. No, you don't request engine start with a FISO. You just say you're starting engines. Circuit breakers in. Fuel cock check on. It is actually on. I put it back on. Beacon on. It was on the whole time. That's probably why the engine didn't stop. Primers not required. Look out. Clear prop. And let's see if it starts correctly. I can't actually open the window here. It'd be quite cool. But, let's crank it, see what happens. Uh-oh. Hey, it started perfectly. And the lights are on. Dear, oh dear. Perfect. Nothing to see here. 1200 RPM. Looking good. Right, so RPM set to 1200. T's and P's in the green-ish. Temperature is very, very cold. I've just been running the engine. That should be way up here. Yeah, it shouldn't be down there. Starter warning light out. Ammeter is off the scale. Suction is registering. Seems to be working fine. Magnetos we then check. Actually, that's done, guys. I don't ever take that cavalier attitude, but just to keep the stream rolling. Flaps up in stages. They'd be down if we've done the walk around. Flight instruments set as required. So transponder to standby 7,000. Turn on the radios. Have the volume cranked up as well. Uh-oh, night pots on the rampage. Yeah, it's very strict sometimes, but there. I see why, Matt. Sorry, it doesn't like that word. Mr. Dick was IR examiner a few years back. Sorry, Mr. D. That's done. Radios, flight instruments tuned and checked as required. So request tell them we're taxiing out. Brakes, rudder, and instruments to check whilst we taxi. Very short taxi. I'm going to go to the whole point here. Just take off of runway 09. You know, blast straight out essentially. So we landed there, taxi all the way in. I'm just going to get my orientation here correct. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, super cool, super short taxi. Right, so release the parking brake. Oh, got to be careful here not to take anyone's heads off. Not a great place to stand. And it doesn't matter, I'm on the grass here. Surely, I've got full right. I can't use differential braking though because I don't have it programmed. There we go. In between the two. Perfect. I know I missed the taxi line, it's just not turning. There we are. Back to the whole point. Sort of try and get it to face into wind a bit here. That'll do. sort of facing into wind. Right, parking brake set, last power checks of the day. Let's do it. So, into wind, clear around, especially behind. Never mind. Hold on, sir. So that's done. Engine T-speed minutes, RPM to 1200. PG, where are you at? We're in Nottingham, Tollerton, Echo Golf Bravo November. We're going to be flying to Echo Golf Charlie Lima, which is Fenland. Right, 1200 RPM set. T's and P. No, 1700. What am I doing? 1700. Carb heat. Max drop 175. Slight drop. That's good. No rough running. Set cold. Magnetos check. Left and right. Maybe 125, but doesn't seem to be any noticeable drop off. Right there, back to both. I'm sure there's going to be more drop off. Suction 3 to 5, that's fine. Ammeters charging, yes. Engine T's and P's with limits. They are. Temperatures now increased slightly, and RPM to idle. Yeah, Fenland, you won't get any weather. I don't even know where the nearest airfield. I'll probably just go to Cambridge. It's going to be probably the nearest one which has a META. Power checks done, then pre-takeoff checks. Trimmer set for takeoff. Throttle friction set. Mixtures rich. Magnetos on both. Beta heaters not required. Primers locked. I'll have the strobes, taxi landing lights on here. Going to do a flaps up takeoff here. More than enough runway length available. And instruments checked and set. So compass. That's 035. 035 QNH is set. And hatches, harnesses, carb heat, recheck if necessary, controls full and free. I haven't checked it once today. Let's check the controls. Make sure they're working. And rudders, all good, ready to go. So just to remind you, what we're going to be doing. Taking off, runway heading, straight out, runway heading is around 090. Our initial track's going to be 098, with that wind coming in from the southeast. So you see here, magnetic heading 098. That's going to be for a time of 12 minutes. We should then be overhead Grantham, and then we'll make our next en route. Change that back, never mind. Right, let's do it. Music's coming off for the takeoff. Toga's in chat. Let's go home. Pilot Fest, loved my EGCL. Stopped at Kemble and Compton Abbas, stayed a bit too long at Kemble and had a full lunch. Good on you. I did 2 qualifying cross countries. I did the one for my PPL, which is what we're replicating today, and I also did one for my CPL in the United States, but that routing I can't remember. Good year. I really can't remember. It's one of the airfields. It'll be in my logbook. I haven't actually looked that up. Maybe I can replicate that in the future. I'm sure some of the US guys would like that. Right, anyway. All looking good. Let's do it. Full power. Flaps up, takeoff. Oh, we better start the timer actually now, because we're going to be going straight out. I've still got the brakes down. There we go. Brakes released. Takeoff thrust sense, indications normal. There's 55 knots. Rotate. Airborne. There's 65. We go. Trim it all. That's better. So that track 098, we'll go straight onto that track now. Feet lower than nose, make sure there's no traffic. Good. And so we're sort of heading eastbound, southeast. We do odds plus 500. We'll go. Let's go to 3,500 feet. Push toga. Much less hairy takeoff than last time. Yeah, that crosswind was really strong. I've had no information regarding any winds in the sim at all today. I'm going to try a crosswind landing into Fenland. I want to land on runway 18 because that's the runway we used to always land on. into Nottingham. There's also another road we can follow, and a railway. It's the E52, I think. New housing estate here, probably all finished now. It is an incredibly spectacular sim. Like the graphics, the world below you. Sometimes it's not a photorealistic world. It's absolutely beautiful. It's flying with just the rudder there to keep the wings level. Why use a timer, says PG? When you're flying with Dead Reckoning, you work out your speed against the ground. Your indicated airspeed here is a calibrated airspeed, so all you need to know is what your ground speed is to navigate. So you take your planned cruise speed, find the speed, your wind speed, you work out your ground speed, and then you know the distance between two waypoints, so you should know how long it should take. Speed, distance, time calculations, you just need 2 to work out the other one of the thing here. So if you've got time, you've got if you've got your time and you know the speed you're flying at, you know what distance you need to fly, you can work out your ETA over each waypoint. Thomas, do you still have a current SDP type rating? I don't know. I let it lapse. Regrettably, I do wish now, especially doing flying like this, I kept it current, even if it just meant one flight every 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I'm thinking... there's nothing stopping me, really. I just want to get back to routine at work first, and then I'll probably like the sight of an airplane. I will probably won't enjoy the sight of an aeroplane again when it gets flat out again, doing 800 plus hours a year. Now, obviously, navigating here, I'm not taking into account the climb speed as well, so obviously it's a bit slower than the 90 knots we're cruising at. So probably want to add a couple of minutes to your time, depending on how long it is. So we departed from. Approaching 3,500 feet. I think on the left here we should have the A52. Yeah, that's Bingham here. That's Bingham. Concentrate here before I don't level off. Dear mind navigating here. It just because it has a tendency to keep turning left. Happened on all the sectors, I think. There we go. Keep it on that track. Heading. And trim. Beautiful. Bit of cruise music, and we should be in Fenland around 30 minutes. Watch out for power dropping at Langer. Yes, I always remember them saying keep well clear of Langer. I can't remember where it is. I can't look at any maps. And no doubt on the VFR chart, it's like a big no-fly area. They used to always say, whoever you used to tune into, caution Langer's active. Francois, do you still have all the performance graphs with our Cessna 152, like your climb, cruise and fuel performance for density, altitude? I do. I have my AFE Cessna 150 guidebook, which has all the graphs and tables on there. Not that I've referenced it for this stream, or referenced it any time recently. There we are. And looking dead ahead, Grantham will be the next sort of built-up area. I think that's it there, largest one. So we'll make good that track of 098. So I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I know it's a little bit different to the sort of commercial operations that we usually do. But I've personally really enjoyed it, just sort of replicating something we've done in the past. Might do some more geo adventures. I mean, it was a lot of flights today. I'd like to probably do another one which is just one flight, and then I can go into a lot more detail in the planning stage to sort of plan 3 in detail for a stream. It's probably a bit overkill. Plus, I can't really show you much more than the sky vector charts. It's going to be good fun. Grab straight ahead. And I used to drive services. used to drive bus services to Bingham. Very cool. So there's the A52 then. Probably just off to the left of us. I think that could be it here. I think that's the A52. Yes, I recognise that curve. Straight. That'll be the A52 to Grantham. Look at it turning. I mean, I don't live anywhere near here now, but this sort of neck of the woods when I grew up, you know, to visit all these places, Grantham, you know, my hometown. We still go visit, you know, friends and parents and stuff like that. It's really cool. Oh, that's very kind, Abby. These streams are just as good as the commercial line because you're streaming. Ah, thank you. Louis, got a question. You know, on a 2 or more sector day, do you get to read through all the flight plans for each sector before the first flight, or do you look at each one before each leg? Now, if it's the first, if we're doing like 2 or more, you know, 4 sectors, probably most will do, we'll generally only look at the first 2 sectors, because, you know, if you start looking at all 4 and making planning decisions, you know, you're wasting that time available for your first flight. You will have time on the first or second sector when you're planning for your third and fourth. When you're en route in the cruise, it's a low work period, and that's when we're sort of making our decisions. So even on a 2 sector day, we're not going to make operational decisions regarding fuel for the second sector until we're sort of en route. We might have a rough idea, perhaps, if our departure point we're expecting bad weather. We could probably say, look, we'll look at that in a bit more detail. But yeah, we'll have all the flight plans are now digital on the iPad. Have a quick look at them, perhaps, but operational decision wise, for the when we're doing the first flight, we'll plan it for the second sector in the cruise, and so on and so forth. This has been back in the hood, exactly. Longcat, fun chill stream, thanks buddy. Oh, Insight's been great as well. John Padfield, a lot of farmland around these parts. Yes, fertile land, probably in 50,000 years, all underwater. But a lot of where I grew up is under sea level. Has a sort of like Holland. And, a lot of drainage went on 200 or 300 years ago to create land. Very fertile around here, which is why there's so many crops and fields. Our little Cessna 152 has kept us going all day. This is the very aircraft that, well, I must, word of a lie, actually, this is not the exact aircraft I flew for my qualifying cross country. I did mine in Golf Bravo Sierra Yankee Victor. Unfortunately that wasn't available, but I did the vast majority of my hour building in this aircraft, this very aircraft. And as I mentioned, it's an Aerobat. Was it called an Aerobat? So it was a little bit more powerful than a 150, noticeably more powerful, but it was semi-aerobatic. You had like a full 5-point harness, and you could loop it. I never did, or never did any aerobatics, but it had that it had the ability to do it. Dutch aviator. I actually adore the landscapes in Netherlands, UK and Ireland. They are so beautiful when looking from the air. Yes, lots of different colours, but it is very flat. Which is always a good thing when you're flying. But there is Grantham. And that track of, what was it, 098. Oh, my tracking today. To be fair, I am looking at a live stream chat and talking. There's probably a few more distractions than I would deal with. That's my excuse anyway. Andy Graham's dead ahead and the radio transmitter. I can't remember that in the sim. Can't see anything sticking out of the ground at the moment. And that is definitely Grantham. And the visibility, can't quite see the wash yet. That'll come into view shortly. But no, there's another flight I'd quite like to do in Microsoft Flight Simulator soon, and that is to go from Fenland to Carnarvon. Probably an hour, 50-minute flight. I might take one of the there's some new aircraft available, isn't there? There's like turbo arrows and things like that. So, or I might take the Seminole. I did it in this aircraft, but it'd be quite fun to take something there. And I'd quite like to do some sort of dead reckoning like we're doing there, but backing up with VOR navigation and DME. As always, like I mentioned earlier, I always used to try and back up the routing with instrument navigation. So sort of You only during your PPL get taught very basic instrument flying, so sort of how to do a position fix, how to track a radial. But you don't really navigate using it. But I used to always plan my routes, and I used to base them off the Trent VOR and the Gamston VOR. I used to always sort of incorporate them into navigation, and I used to enjoy doing that. There is Grantham. That's the A1, maybe. Yeah, that's the A1. All controlled airspace around here. Lovely. All over the place with my navigating. Right, let's get right over the centre of Grantham for our penultimate sector and track. Let's bring up Sky Vector once more. So there we are, overhead Grantham. Next track then, so 113 corrected for wind, 116, 19 miles, so it'll be 15 minutes to Spalding. Okay, 15 minutes to Spalding. Now when we get overhead Spalding, we're going to duck into the cockpit, set the required track and time, see if we get right over the top of Fenland. I want to do I want to kind of test the accuracy of dead reckoning, see how close we can get it. But there we are, overhead Grantham. See, it'll take my off the ball, we're up and down. Just get back in trim. Excellent. So the timing was meant to be 12 minutes. Let's check the nav clock. 13. Okay, so wind's probably a little bit stronger than forecast. A little bit stronger than forecast. Makes sense because we were arriving a little bit earlier on, and now we're arriving a little bit later as we're flying into the wind there. So start the timer again. 15 minutes. And a track of 116. 116. So heading altitude, confirm QNH. Press B, that's fine. 16 is plugged in. 115 is good enough. Just quite trim here at the moment. There we are. Let's just check the compass against the eye. Feel free to check my grand. So that's saying around 101-ish. Don't think there's much drift in the sim. And it's Frida. Fuel. Just had a 3/4 of a tank. Radio. Well, I can't remember. We used to. Obviously, there's no. Yeah, was it Waddington? Cottesmore? I really can't remember who I'd be talking to at the moment. I mean, it's all gun controlled, so you could just have a listening watch on 1:1.5. You didn't need to necessarily be talking to anyone at this stage. Anyway, radio's set. Engines, T's and B's are in the green. We just checked the compass against the DI. The heading indicator synchronised with the compass, and QNH is set. All good. Icefire, is pressing B available in the real Cessna? No. Andy, you're just flying over the radio station now. Oh, you know exactly where to look, I don't. I'm sure it's there, God, I wish I bent that piece of metal to get it to fly. Stop turning left. No rudder trim, annoyingly. Chris Curtin should be Freedag keys. Brilliant, Chris. Cranwell Waddington. Okay. Yeah, we used to get a Lars service from one of the military airports. But it's 12 years, guys, since I've done any of this around here. Beautiful. We should be in Fenland around 25 minutes. Halfway. Still the A52 on the left. We'll just fly our dead reckoning track. yeah, I need to get my chart, do my little fan line so I can make accurate track adjustments. You know, check halfway, but the sky vector chart is just not clear. There's nothing on there. Maybe I should just put my chart there. I really want something that you guys could, excuse me, could reference. Really interestingly, Fenland Airfield many years ago actually had an NTB, that tiny little grass airfield, had an NTB on it. You can actually practice doing instrument approaches into Fenland, but it got decommissioned years ago, before I even started my flight training. But, just an NTB then. And it is very flat around here. Not much going on. And also, hand flying all day, no autopilot today. I'm pretty happy with my altitude keeping. My track keeping's been a little bit off, but my keeping's been fine. Thanks everyone that's subscribed today. ED Santa Cruz Photography as well, thank you. Welcome on board. I couldn't tell you any of these villages around here. Bit of a tough sector, there isn't actually much we can really make reference to. Well, I'm only referencing the sky vector chart here. Yeah, the sim's now performing beautifully, like no stuttering whatsoever. So I will take that advice, whoever that was, to turn off photorealistic cities. I think that is what is causing a lot of the stuttering for me. Right now it's just, yeah, my CPU usage is 46%, GPU is 52, and FPS is 60 to 65. Along, I'll get you a job teaching PPL if you like. Oh, crikey. That was always a backup plan. I was very, very fortunate at the time. When I finished at Oxford, I got to know the owner of the flying school at Fenland quite well. It's changed hands, I think, at least on a couple of occasions now. And he did say, if you're struggling to get a right-hand seat job after finishing, you know, give me a call, and we'll see what we can do. You know, see if we get, you know, if you get your instructor's rating, sort of thing. You know, come and work back here. So it was really nice. I don't know how concrete that was, but I didn't get to know him that well. But he always said to me, yeah, don't worry if you need help as well, because I was the only person at the time there. There's a few other guys my age who were getting their PPL, but it's more for, you know, fun. They didn't want to take it seriously. So it's really nice to have that as a sort of backup. So I would have got into instructing had I, you know, light aircraft. Had I not been fortunate enough to get a right-hand seat after training. So yeah, still a lot of respect for you guys. And sometimes I look back and or see where I am now, and I can't go. I love my job at the right seat. I won't change it for the world. But I sometimes imagine like working or even owning a flying school was so cool. But another part of flying as well, I remember when I was hour building, there were a few situations or sometimes days where I was sat here like this, and I wouldn't say it was boring, but it was like, oh, you know, where I've done this, I've been there, I've done that, where do I go sort of next? So it's sort of keeping that motivation as well. But yeah, I'd love to just get up tomorrow and go for a flight, really would. So a light aircraft would be awesome. Right, what was this sector? 15 minutes. So I'll start looking out ahead here. That should be Spalding. Get a lot better with the track keeping here. Should get the wash coming into view soon. No, I can't really see much there at the moment. I'll always pop your head outside to improve what you can see in the sim. It is incredible. Long cat instructing can be fun, but I'd love to get back to an airline if I could. Yeah, there's a famous poster where you see a guy in a Cessna. I think he's in a Cessna seaplane, and he's looking up at a Boeing 747 flying over, and the guy in the seaplane is looking up at the Boeing 747 going, wow, I wish that was me. And the guys in the Boeing 747 are looking down, looking at the seaplane, and they're saying the exact same thing. I wish that was me. We're always complaining. It's always complaining. Don't actually appreciate your position where the role you have in sometimes. But yeah, that's the way it is. Ethan, do you ever take your wife for a little sunset flight or something? Well, my partner, Mariana, I don't have my SCP rating anymore. We've flown together a few times in the past, but she works for a different airline now. But no, we've never done any sunset flight. I'd love to take her flying. I think she'd be petrified. We went to New York on our earliest holidays together. It was about 5 years ago now. We went on a helicopter, one of those helicopter trips around New York. She'd be petrified. I loved it. Even though I never trusted the whirlybirds. Clavo seems to remember your training in Arizona, or is my memory wrong? Initial training was in the UK, did my PPL here, and then I decided to go from modular to integrated, so I actually started flight training in America as well, even though I had my PPL in the UK. And that was in Arizona, Goodyear, Arizona, where I completed my CPL, CPL, then I came back to the UK to complete my instrument rating at Oxford. But yeah, I might do some flights around Goodyear as well. That'd be really cool. That is Spalding ahead. Looks familiar. Yes, that is it. So you just remember the shapes and the sort of orientation of everything here. It's amazing. So Spalding also has a really nice landmark, which is not in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It has a whopping great big water tower, which sticks out like a sore thumb. Great for navigating, so you would have seen that clearly, and helps identify Spalding as a landmark there. Obviously, it doesn't seem to be here in the sim, but it's very useful to be able to rotate it. And that track worked out quite nicely. 115. I've gone a bit more to 120 now because I can sort of visually identify the correct point there. I'm just sort of flying towards it. Lauren, I don't blame her. Helicopters are physics-defying terror machines. Agreed. I had some helicopter lessons in R22, and I always looked at that thing thinking, oh my goodness me. Great fun though. I actually did that not too far away from where we are in the game in Peterborough. It's Simpson. Thanks for subscribing. Estemo, Camacho, Lopez, Mariam, and Mac. Welcome aboard, guys. And to the last part of the stream here, approaching Spalding in the UK, and we're making our last track and time adjustment to Fenland. And for those of you who don't know, Fenland is actually quite a tricky airfield to spot because it has a grass airstrip surrounded by fields. Depends what crops are being grown in the fields. But it can be a bit tricky to spot sometimes. It's going to be even more tricky so because we're sort of going to go heads down here and just fly the 4.5 minute timing and track to see how close we can get. We should be directly overhead. Chris Flair theory probably originated here. Now, this is where I grew up. A lot of things that are said from people around this part of the world. A lot of banter could come from chat this second here. Ralph, awesome stream. What do you think you would have to do to regain your PPL qualifications to the aircraft, even though you're a captain? We were discussing this earlier, so it would be I don't know exactly. It'll be a skills test of some sort. So all I need is to get my SCP rating. I wouldn't be confident taking that test tomorrow, so I'd have some lessons. Certainly not a full PPL syllabus would be required. You wouldn't need to take the exams as well. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't know. Am I thinking about it right now? No, because I just want some normality in my normal job. some consistency in flying before I start sort of doing anything like that. We'll see in the future. Maybe if next summer is a normal summer and everything's back to normal post-COVID, we'll see. We'll see. I'm quite happy at the moment. You know, flight deck sim has been satisfying my flying bug throughout the entire pandemic and before. I've been enjoying it as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Listen to me, if you sold flight deck to Sim's hoods, you might just sleep with the fishes. Anyway, brilliant. Here's Spalding. Amazing. I'm trying to work out where I went to school. It's going to be the place where the sports ground is. Can't remember where it is. Oh my god, I'm trying to get a bit disorientated here. I went to school here. I think this is the school I went to. Am I correct? This where it's called the Welland. Yeah, there we go, that's my school. That's where I went to school here. Just there where my mouse pointer is. Spalding Grammar School. And yeah, grew up in this town. My hometown. Mate, it's so cool. It's incredible how detailed this is. There's the train station. This road's called Park Road. This is Pinchbeck Road. There's the town centre. Oh, would you like to know where the Morrison's is? Hold on. Let me get this right. There we go, there's Morrison's. That's where I sold my chickens. Just in that building there. That is Morrison's in Spalding. Chicken seller for 3 years. Thought you'd enjoy that, guys. Right, anyway. Let's jump into the cockpit. Right, what was our final heading and track we're going to try? So we're going to try and do some of this dead reckoning heads down. See how accurate it is. 1, 2, 3. So let's make a left turn now. A little bit late with the timing. I was too busy trying to work out landmarks. Start. And that heading was 1, 2, 3 degrees. So if we go in this direction, it's a bit of instrument flying now. Look. If we go in this direction for 4.5 minutes, we should be overhead Fenland. Okay, we should be directly overhead our destination. Let's see how good our tracks and timings are. Well, Sky Vector's calculated tracks and timings based off the forecast wind. 1, 2, 3, and it was. I'm trying to hand fly in using instruments here and show you the charts. Oh, do go away. So we're just on this final little segment here. I know it says 1, 2, 2, but it's 1, 2, 3 corrected for wind. Here's the nav log for 4.6 minutes, okay, probably 4.5. There you go. Right, let's get rid of that. I'll close the whole thing now because we won't need any more. Let's see what happens, shall we? Where's that? 1, 2, 3. And this is how the best way to find Fenland was, because it was sometimes really difficult to see. So 4.5 minutes, another 3 minutes to go. Well found, thanks Abby, I recognised all the roads. Morrison Spalding, you've probably served me, probably Andy. Well, there were 3, well, I was doing my A-levels when I started working there, and when I finished my A-levels, I picked up I didn't go quite full time, but I was living, you know, at home essentially, still saving as much money as possible for the modular flight training, and then I went integrated. Did that for 3 years there, and then 3 years in total working there, a year and a half almost full time. Crazy when you think about it. Right, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Remember, for 4.5 minutes we should be directly overhead Fenland. And I might be a little bit less than that because I was quite late. Let me start again. Quite late with the timer because I'd already passed Spalding. So I might go heads up after about 4 minutes. I love that. I can't believe I just showed you where it worked. I'm quite surprised how quickly I can find it as well. 1, 2, 3. That's better. minute and 30 seconds. We should be overhead. I'm honestly clueless. I've got no map on. I've got no navigraph. Nothing. I've been using this all day. Let's pitch up slightly. Back up to 3,500 feet. It's a bit off there. 125. Pop my head up after about 4 minutes, so I just think I'm going to be a little bit late. We should be directly overhead. So I'm just a little bit late with that timer because I was already past Spalding. Another 30 seconds to go. It should be literally right on the nose. I'm looking, guys. Let's have a look. Oh, well, I can't remember the camera views. It should be right on the nose. Ah, where is it? Wait, that's Holbeach St John's, so it's going to be just behind. There it is. Look at that. That wasn't bad at all. I recognise this strip of pit. That's Holbeach St John's. So when you're coming into Fenland, can't find the airfield, always look for that group of houses. That wasn't bad at all. Look at that. I'm really impressed. Right, we're on the dead side now for the circuit for runway 18. Mega. It's obviously much easier to be able to go on an external view. Right, 1700. I can't believe it. There you go, tracks and timings, dead reckoning. It's rough working and navigating. It's never really as accurate as this GPS, but it works. It just works. We've used it all day. We've used no GPS, no navigraph, just referencing landmarks in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I chose before the stream here. It works great in this sim. Very, very cool. Right, so we're on the dead side of the airfield. Runway 18 is a right-hand circuit, a little bit high here. What's the airfield? There it is. Yeah, we're nowhere near the airfield here. Gonna try crosswind landing here. Sim is really buttery smooth now. So we're going to be landing in this direction on the dead side here. A little bit high. And we're going to make a right turn downwind. We should be pretty much crossing upwind here, but we'll join downwind and then land on runway 18. I got a little bit lost between Grantham and Rutland. No, it wasn't between Grantham and Rutland. It was between Grafham. Yes, you're right. So Grafham Water and Rutland. Yeah, a little bit disorientated perhaps. Maybe I don't know what exactly happened, but well, I think it's the aircraft's been having a tendency to turn left all day because we ended up left of track. That's what happened. All right, very high. We should be at around 1,000 feet now, joining downwind, but. Just keep it going down. Did I pull the carping out? I did. Amazing. But yeah, you imagine, if you're unfamiliar with this airfield, obviously it's been a long time since I've been here, but it's somewhere stored in my brain, and you remember landmarks. This is, Holbeach St John's. Always was told if you're struggling to find it, look for that line of buildings because it's the only kind of line of buildings in the area, and you'll find Fenland. Very high. Thousand feet circuit eye here. We'll do our bump fitch checks. Turn the music off as well as we're coming into land. Do I see three runways? No, two runways here. 1836 and 08. 1836 and 0826, sort of like a T design. I haven't done any decent circuits at all today, and I'm joining really high downwind. You should be descending onto the circuit here because I could descend on top of an aircraft. Whoops. Sorry for all you PPL holders and instructors. Right, where's my bump fitch checks? Brakes under carriage, mixture's fully rich, fuel on and sufficient for go around, coming to a half a tank, flaps are up for now, instruments, engine T's and P's at the green. And what else have I got to do? Carpeet's already out. Hatch and harness is secure. Checks complete. Very wide base leg. Oh my days. Landing no blue. Yeah, very good. Sort of Airbus references here. This is a very wide circuit. And we'll be touching down in around 2 minutes. Or even less than that. Short field here as well. So we'll come in at 65 knots. We're going to probably have quite a strong crosswind to contend with as well. That's your flops coming in. 10 degrees. What? Didn't have these lights here. Well, it did actually have runway edge lights. You can actually land here at night, as long as someone remembered to turn them on. But it didn't have any descent guidance from Varsies. But it does have runway edge lights here, which is pretty cool. Flaps 20. Did we use flap 30 here? No, I think we still use flap 20, even though it's a bit shorter. Oh, it's a really strong crosswind. Should be landing on 08 really. Oh dear. Look at that crab. So it's got a bit of a displaced threshold here because there is a telephone line, telegraph poles on the road. So there's a slight displaced threshold. A little bit slow here. That is some serious crab. Keep it ascending. Right, cut the power. Waiting to decrab. Oh, we're down already. Oh, decrabbing. Made it run into wind. Well, that's full right rudder. Full right rudder. I've got full right. It's not turning. Look at that. Full right. Full right rudder. Why is it not turning? I'm in a field. That's full right rudder. Unbelievable. No, I didn't go on the. I did not go on the field there. Oh, that is a, yeah, that's probably why. Look, to be fair, full right rudder. Look at that windsock. It's probably like a 30-knot crosswind here. It's definitely, I think, beyond the crosswind limit for a Cessna 152. That's my excuse anyway. That is almost vertical. What is the wind they've got going on here at Fenland today? I'm having to use a serious amount of rudder to keep. What is it doing? My goodness me. It is. But I don't understand, right? Am I losing my mind? Look, it's weathercocking to the right. It should be going to the left. Look, wind's coming from the left, okay? That means, look, if I let go of everything, just to demonstrate it, look, it's going right. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be going left. The wind's hitting this, pushing the nose to the left. I'm having to use left rudder to decrab. That is not correct. I don't understand what's going on in the sim, but it was crabbing in that direction. What's going on the ground? It's like it's all backwards. Am I losing my mind here? I really... Tell me I'm correct here, that the nose should be going left on it. So look, let go of the rudder, and it's going right. That's not what should be happening. It should be going left. Please tell me I'm not losing my mind. Right, anyway, let's taxi on to stand. I mean, is it different in the 7.3? Surely not. Is a Cessna 150 unique? I can't remember. Look, they've even got the little concrete blocks here, which you have to try and park on. There we are. You saw it there for yourselves, though, didn't you? You saw how it was crabbing on its own to the right when it should be weathercocking to the left. Really unusual. It's like broken backwards. Oh dear, I've missed the parking spot as well. Oh no. You are correct to add of sound mind. Thanks, Nathan, for the clarification. That was very unusual because maybe they've got something wrong with the ground, because it was correct on the approach. If I jump out here, so we were coming in on 1.8 like this, and you know, I'm trying to think here. I had to use left rudder to correct onto the wind here. I don't know. And on the ground, it seems to be all backwards. Who knows? Anyway, we've made it, so that's the important thing. Hopefully, I've discovered a critical error and I'll fix it. Or maybe I have just lost my mind and it's not working as it's working perfectly fine. Who knows? Right, shut down, positioning to wind, parking brakes on, RPM 1200. We'll imagine the mag's checked, radios are off. I forgot to set the parking brake. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's turn this down here. That is done. Cut off. Let's see if it actually shuts the engines down here. Yes. I know I've forgotten half the checks. I've not parked as straight as possible. I think we're not going to get the engines completely shut down as before, guys. Just doesn't want to go. Yeah, I think it's basically the wind in the game. I'll show it to you. Obviously, it would stop. But let's just turn off live weather here and see if the engines stop. Clear skies. Ah, yes, it's the wind. Such strong wind, it's forcing the the propeller to windmill. There we are. So interesting. There you go. A few little bugs we've discovered here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But overall, the entire flight was brilliant. I really loved it. It was great fun to replicate the qualifying cross-country. The sim is fantastic. The graphics are great. The wind en route seems to be fine. Looks like on the ground the behaviour is a bit strange. Sort of the windmilling propeller, opposite rudder needed. It's weathercocking, not into the wind. It's weathercocking out of the wind. It's a bit unusual. But otherwise, en route, everything worked out nicely, and I can't wait to do some more VFR flying in Microsoft Flight Simulating. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different than the norm. Yeah, as I just said, we'll probably do some more adventures in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the future. Find some new places to go. To everyone that's donated, thank you very much for your contributions. To all the regular viewers, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. To all the members, thank you for the continued support. Just before I go, let's have a look. Some of the things that were said on the approach there as it got a bit busy. Edward, the windsocks are wrong. Yeah, they're all pointing in the wrong direction. Sorry to say you failed your PPL. We did have a slight excursion there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was crabbing to the left, wasn't I? Oh, I completely got confused there on the looking at the replay, trying to think which direction it was. So the windsocks are in the wrong direction. Interesting. Either the windsock is backwards or the wind is. It was trying to work out what was going on there, but maybe the wind is correct in the game, and it was weathercocking correctly, but obviously referencing it against the windsock, we can't. But they need to fix something there. Something's broken. Who knows? Yeah, so as ever, thanks a lot for watching. Next live, haven't got any plans yet, but I've got hopefully again my first flight this weekend. The last one was moved aside for a training flight, but I am planning to be going on flying for the first time with passengers this year, this weekend, so looking forward to it. Anyway, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, wherever you are. Stay safe, and I'll see you on another live stream very soon. Bye bye for now.